test of how well prepared he is actually this game. It's going to be a big test. Um, so we'll keep an eye on that one. In the main event, we do get a transposition to something more classical. Here, Natasha with the move c6 now on the board. And the Ray Robson Shanklin game also got quite interesting because we got a Slav opening with d takes c4, a4, and e6. So this is interesting. I expect something like the move e3 and then c5, transposing to a Queen's Gambit accepted variation. And we'll see the battle of the American geniuses, what will happen there. Um, I would absolutely love to see a big fight in that game. What else is going on? Uh, Gelfand against Navarra. Now, these guys have got nothing to play for, exactly, except pride. And I guess they are the two eldest in the competition. Harry, Krishna, and Navarra are pretty much the same age, but the two most experienced grandmasters. Gelfand has gone for something very quiet, a kind of King's Indian attack with c4 and bishop c5 by Navarra. It's been a difficult tournament for the legendary Boris Gelfand. He's on 3 points, 3 out of 8, -2, no wins. Didn't really have a chance in any of the games either, I would say. There wasn't a moment where I believe he could have done something different. So it's been difficult. And Navarra also hasn't really had a clear, what's the word, a sort of clear break either, it must be said. So two disappointing tournament for both of these players. But nonetheless, they'll fight this tour, and it's another game for them. They've been in this situation before. Dayak Kamer is just following a standard sort of what's the word? Standard line here in the Spanish. Mm-hmm. Very standard. So there's no big surprises there. We'll see what ends up happening because I'm kind of curious. Of course, Dayak, the important thing for him is not to lose today. Whether he wins or not is another question, but losing is unthinkable. As White and in Wang Hao win, we have a Rogozin kind of. We have a Nimzo Indian classical with a3, knight f3, and takes bishop g5. Fairly standard stuff there as well. Once again, this game isn't relevant for the tournament standings because Wang Hao and Win are both on 3.5 and 3 respectively. So they're just fighting to not come in the bottom position. Motilov Glidora has followed very natural lines, bishop e6, rook b1, and now queen d7 by Glidora, after which White says, I'm not interested in your b7 pawn, I guess because bishop b6 traps the rook. Classic little idea, and then the rook is trapped, so Motilov just castles. Who would you take here, Natasha, in this position?
I think I like White position. You have no safe place where to put your black king. where to put
Mm-hmm.
your king with black.
Mm-hmm.
Short castle, you have a big problem on h7. And if you go for long castle with the b file opened,
Mm-hmm.
it's a little bit complicated. Maybe it's the safest to go long castle.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But I like white pieces activity. And it's I like activity with my pieces, so I would take white for sure.
Yeah, me
And
too.
you?
Yeah,
You too.
100%. I would take white here all day, but I also recognize that black is very solid, and that this position is absolutely not bad for black, basically. Uh,
No, they have no weakness, so how can it be bad?
right, right.
The yeah, the question is, where would you put your king?
That's the big question. That is the big question. It's not clear to me at all where Glidora has an idea of putting his king here. Not at all clear to me. So we will see. Could be in both sides. It really depends on how he feels,
And he made a choice.
and he does castle on the queen side. Look at that. That is very, very interesting. That is extremely interesting that he castles on the queen side here. It's probably fine though, because yes, white has got the b file, but what else does white have? And the queen is now misplaced on h5. So I don't hate this decision at all, actually. I really don't hate this decision at all. I think this is, absolutely legitimate for black. Lami Peshak is getting a bit wild. We last saw it here at e4 and knight h5, bishop e3 and knight f6. And now Erwin decides to run with the h pawn. h4 takes e5, knight d5, knight g5. And knight g5 was, of course, threatening mate on h7. So Peshak decides to take it. But this is also a kind of, a committal move, because after takes queen c7, I'm looking at this d6 square now, and I'm saying to myself, okay, this could get very, very nasty. Um, so takes has happened. I guess Peshak will just put the queen on c7, and we'll see what happens. I guess the big idea for black is that after knight takes c4, that he wants to play the move c5. I'm pretty sure that's the big idea.
And little by little, black tries to destroy white pawn center. And yeah, and if you take on c5, yeah, you take back with the. If I play d takes c5, you take with the pawn, the queen, or the knight on c5?
I don't think. Good question. I think all three are possible, to be honest. Queen looks interesting. Queen looks interesting, but I think all three are possible. We'll see. We'll wait and see if that actually happens, because Peshak, he can do anything, can't he? Any kind of sort of ideas he'll go for. Vikuk against Finnick is very interesting as well, because we have a reversed Sicilian classical variation with e4. I quite like this decision by Vikuk to play like this, but of course, objectively, the position is fine after something like takes, and now bishop c5. I don't think Finnick can be too unhappy about this, about getting this position here. Has to be a pretty acceptable position. So that is good. And what else? What else can we say? Um, that one can spice up. We got real spice though in the Paul Vinicius Bartel game, one of the key games for the class for the challengers. Bishop f4, knight f6. So he did take knight d7, bishop f4, knight f6, knight c7, and king d8. This is the main line of this variation. I'm just going to check again what the current theory is. So white tends to take on a8. Black now tends to take on e4 with check. Knight to e2, because if bishop e2, you might. What is wrong with bishop e2 actually? You lose this bishop. That's why you have to protect the bishop. So knight to e2 and queen takes a8. So the dust has settled after all this, and to give you an idea, there's been a whole host of white wins in 2022. The record for black here is actually pretty poor. And in this position here, white has got a choice of what to do. He can either go f3, which I guess gives white the opportunity to put the king on f2, or the move knight c3. Both have been played equally according to my database. So I'm curious to see.
But I'm very surprised because if you look at the clocks,
Mm-hmm.
Mateusz Bartel just
Uh-huh.
he thought just one. He didn't. He has he's 1 hour 33, so it means that he might be in his preparation, and so he knows this variation. So
Absolutely, yeah.
who is leading the dance?
No, for sure.
Pulcinivicius or Bartel?
No, for sure Bartel. And I think maybe even Bartel prepared this specifically. Uh, you know,
And so this is, yeah. So I was thinking it's a little bit odd because if you say that you have so many victories for white, maybe now with a supercomputer, maybe he found out something, a move, an improvement in the variation.
yeah, we'll see. But I mean, of course, what we're expecting here is that Bartel has found some interesting line here. And if Paul Vinicius doesn't know what he's doing, you can get into trouble here as white. This is not a position which is uh, a position you can just play off the hand as white. You need to know you need to know the intricacies of this position. So I'm very curious to see um, how Paul Vinicius does here, but it could be a disastrous game for him. It really could. Peshak has put the queen on b8 and not on c7. I don't quite know why, but I guess it's okay. Maybe he wants to bring this rook to c8. Maybe this is his idea, is that he wants to just bring this rook to c8 here. Wouldn't surprise me at all. Motilov has brought his queen back to f3, trying to find a better place for it.
Yeah, he wants to go for c4, I think. A move like c4, just to exchange one of his doubled pawn, open the long diagonal, h1, a8. It makes sense to play queen f3 for me.
Yes, queen f3 makes total sense to me as well. What else is going on? Well, in the Bogdan Dag versus Kamer game, we didn't get some kind of long forced Marshall, which is good. We've got 9a3, so basically all kind of options and results are possible. So a3 is there. Queen b3 now by Boris Gelfand is fairly standard against Navarra. Attacking the b pawn, still needs to warm up, and we do in one of the key games have exactly what I thought, in the sense of we have a Queen's Gambit accepted via transposition with the inclusion of a4. Now it's up to Ray to decide how aggressive he wants to be. Of course, you can play with, for example, something like, Queen e2, Rook d1, Knight e5. All kinds of ideas like that exist in such a position. And, well, it can get very, very sharp. Hari Krishna against Martirosian has actually followed a very almost identical, an identical line to what we saw. I think this was the game Navara Hari Krishna from a few rounds ago, where we had takes, check, king h8, bishop d3. And in that game, I believe Hari Krishna put the bishop on f6 and Navara went e4, something like this, and knight f8, if I remember correctly. And Navara had a little bit of pressure, but it wasn't enough. This time, Hari Krishna puts the bishop on e7, which is the more classical way of playing this, and then puts the bishop on d6 when white plays e4 anyway. And this time, the bishop goes back to c7. So the argument here is that the bishop is on a wonderful diagonal compared to previously. And, well, what does white have? Well, he plays bishop c4. Also, this was mentioned by Navara in our interview with him after the game, because he said often this bishop targets this pawn, and it's a little bit awkward to defend this pawn. And in fact, maybe the move rook f8 here is the only move to hold the pawn, and he plays it. Rook f8 is the move that has been played. So this is, very, very, I find this position very, very difficult to believe is something for white, but we'll see what Martirosian comes up with. What else have we got going on? Well, we've got that main position in Pop Vinicius Bartel. So f3 and knight c3, the main moves here. We'll see what Pop Vinicius does. Akash has put his king in the corner on h1, which is interesting because he's not resolved the situation in the center. So c takes d4 looks like it wins a pawn, but his idea is he just wants to go bishop g1, and then he'll go knight e2 and collect this pawn anyway. So he has absolutely not blundered a pawn here. And so we'll see what Stalmak wants to do. Again, just a totally standard position in the French. Peshak has also played the move c5 here early on, which is very reasonable. Peshak with the move c5. And we'll see what happens there. I mean, that could still spice up. Ray Robson has gone for the classic line queen e2. He wants to put the rook on d1 and then think about d5. Be curious to see how Shankland decides to counter that. Vikuk Finek has transposed into a kind of reversed Najdorf, actually, after bishop e3, bishop g4. I wonder in this position here if the move h3 is actually kind of a main move here to prevent bishop g4. Wouldn't surprise me, but maybe not, because bishop e3, bishop e2 now played. And of course, now black can just trade and put a knight on d4, which I don't think is bad for black at all. So I'm curious to see what happens here. In this one, very, very curious. A lot can still happen in that position. F3 was the decision by Paul Vinicius, and Bartel almost instantly plays the main move, which is to play the move knight to d5. So we are still very much in the, let's say, the main lines of this. And now Paul Vinicius playing a little bit quicker. So was he kind of tricking uh, Bartel? And bishop g5 check is actually slightly unusual. The main move here is to play bishop d2. Bishop g5 check has been played before, though, but not by Aronian, I beg your pardon. Aronian against Dominguez 2022 in Berlin, actually. Bishop g5 check. And now in this game, it went f6, bishop d2, and bishop d6. And I'm very curious. I don't exactly know the difference between uh, putting the bishop on d2 straight away and the inclusion of bishop g5 check. Who this benefits. I guess it benefits black. I guess it benefits black. However, at the same
Yeah.
time, um, you know, uh, it's very difficult to judge exactly how the inclusion of f6 really benefits black here.
Yeah, the only thing we can say is that playing f7, f6, you provoke with bishop g5, then f6, you provoke a weakness on e6.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the only difference. And you don't have the square for your knight. You cannot play knight f6 then to keep developing your pieces with black. I was thinking that maybe it's a little improvement for white. Actually, I disagree with you.
You
So
think
we'll
it
see.
helps white, this
I think
inclusion
it
of bishop?
helps white, yes, because black won't have the square to put to play knight d7, f6,
Mm-hmm.
and also you create a weakness with white. So maybe it's a little plus for white. This
Mm-hmm.
is my first intuition, but
It is interesting. It is interesting that this move has been included. But at the same time, it's, of course, when the majority of super GMs just play bishop d2, there's also some doubt, perhaps, but I'm not entirely sure. Uh, Tough to say.
of course.
Tough to say. Yeah, really tough to say.
Can we go back to the?
Mhm.
I think it's a Ray Robson game against Shankland.
Mm-hmm.
Can we have a look?
Yeah, of course we can. Ah,
Yes, and I was thinking that playing a4 for white in this kind of position
mm-hmm.
is not that good. Usually you play moves like a3 to prevent this kind of maneuver
Indeed.
for black, knight b4, then knight d5. So
You're exactly right. I mean, that's the reason why the move order in the opening, after knight f3, knight f6, takes a4, e6, and now entering this queen's gambit decline via this move order is seen as a very good option for white, precisely for what you say, which is that the move a4 may not help white, and it leaves the b4 square open for this knight to beautifully sit there and control the key d5 square. So you're absolutely right. That is a major reason. No question about it. Um,
okay, but black lost a tempo playing c6, c5. So I think this is you play a4 with white, but black has lost a tempo playing c6, c5. I don't know if it's changed anything, if
uh,
there are, but maybe it won't be enough. So I
yeah,
think that it might be a nice isolani pawn for black, actually.
it's unclear, I would say. It's unclear. I'm really looking forward to seeing how the game develops, though, because that we get a very, very complex middle game.
Of course.
Scanning the games here. No movement in the game between Motilov and Glidora. Yes, is there somewhere you would like to go?
Maybe we can go to see the Czech match between in the challengers. Yes.
Well, we've
Between
just been here, so we've seen that we saw Bishop G4, Bishop E2, Bishop E7, Rook C1,
okay.
castles. So
Okay,
following standard lines here.
Okay.
Starmack has played H6 against Akash. Very odd decision. Why would you go H6 here? He wants to stop Knight G5, perhaps. I don't know. Why would you go H6? Because now, can you play F5 with white? Does this move exist? The point is, if you take, I'm going to take on E6. And if you take, I've got check, and then you're in big trouble because I can just capture on D4 if I want. And your king is in the middle of the board. So I do believe that F5 could actually be a serious move here, actually. This could be a very serious move.
Yes, it's a very interesting idea.
Mm-hmm.
F5. Like all your pieces are ready for attack, and so it's time to play a move like this. So after, I think Akash is thinking of this move.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what Black could do. After F5, you can think also at knight take D4 or maybe long castle. Just don't move the position and just maybe long castle would be, but it's a bit
After
weird to do.
F5.
Yeah, it's a bit weird, no? Long castle.
Well, it's not that weird because you have to get out the idea of Bishop G6 check. I don't hate it at all. I think it's absolutely possible, this move. I don't hate it whatsoever. I think it's kind of very, very plausible. We'll see, but it will be interesting to see F5 if it does indeed hit the board. Gelfand Navarra, after the move Queen B3, Navarra decided to take on F3 first and then go Queen C7, Bishop G2. I guess you just move the knight to D7 now. White has the two bishops, but black is very solid. A pretty standard situation. And a long way to go. Dayak Kmar is just a mainline E4, E5 position. And Dayak playing the long game, which I think he wants to keep the position alive, basically, in case he needs to really fight for a win. I think this is a very smart idea by Dayak to play like this. Win has just played the move A5 against Wang Hao. Looks very reasonable. He wants to play A4 in some positions or Bishop A6. It depends. So I think that's a very reasonable move by Nguyen, who also has had a very tough tournament, if we're honest. He's bottom of the table. He's on 3 out of 8. No wins, 2 losses. Solid guy. Great player. But of course, uh, you know, beating players at this level is just extremely hard. Um, and so, is his style is not really, how to call it. His style is not really the one to try and win a lot of games in a tournament like this. Martirossi and Harry Krishna, knight f6 on the board. Looks completely fine for Harry Krishna, doesn't it, this position here? Just looks completely fine. I see no advantage here for white at all. How does white even want to try for an advantage? Doesn't look at all clear to me.
Yeah, I agree with you, especially with your rook on f1 and a1. It's a little bit strange to have your rook stuck in f1 with white, and yeah, you have the two bishops with black, a good pawn structure, and it's a very healthy position for black.
Indeed. Apologies, guys, if you can hear some beeping. That's something outside that I cannot stop. So hopefully that will stop very soon. Apologies for if you guys can hear additional noise. In one of the most interesting games of the day, f6, bishop d2, bishop d6 now on the board. So what is Populus going to do? Is he going to play king f2? This looks like the most natural move to me, to get the king on a kind of decent square. Not straightforward, though. Not straightforward. So we'll see exactly what Populus does. He's 20 minutes behind on the clock. So it's quite a big disadvantage on the clock.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
White is an exchange up, but it seems to be easier to play this position with black. I mean, white pieces are a little bit, how to say, in a traffic.
Exactly.
And the default pawn is knight on d5 is very strong. I think it's more comfortable to play with black, even if it's very, very, it's a very, very complex position.
Correct.
But I think black has full compensation, and the point is, Mateusz Bartel has 1 hour 24, so it means that he knows the position. So,
without doubt. And we are in a well-known position here. I mean, this is not a novel position. This is a known position. It's been played.
It was his opening choice with black.
Yes, and it was his opening choice. So he will know the ideas here. So after a move like king f2, what do you want to do as black? Let's see what has been played previously. So f6, bishop d2, bishop d6. In the Aronian game against Dominguez, Aronian actually played the move knight g3. King f2, of course, playable, after which black can now try and bring the queen back in. Maybe play a move like bishop b7, but that looks a bit strange to line it up there. Maybe you just bring the queen back in or bring the rook to e8. This looks like a perfectly legitimate move. And you're right, it's an awkward position for white. How do you get your pieces out here? It's It's not at all obvious to me how you get your pieces out in this position here. Not obvious at all to me. So some serious practical problems as well here for Vinicius. And it wouldn't surprise me at all to see him struggle in this game. They have played 16 moves though, so he's not doing terribly on the clock or anything like that. Um, However, of course, yes, uh, you know, uh,
Yeah,
I can
we'll
definitely
see.
see a Bartel victory today. Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, as you said, 3 results are possible in the game,
Hmm.
in this game.
Exactly. So d takes c5, h6 now played in this position by Peshak throwing in this intermediate move. I wonder, however, if Erwin will throw in an intermediate move of his own with the move uh, pawn to c6. That would not surprise me uh, whatsoever. This makes a lot of sense, doesn't it, to go c6 here? Because if you take, I can now take, and this diagonal suddenly is, is very, I mean, this is clearly very good for white. So
Yes,
after c6, yeah, go on.
yeah, I was saying that bishop takes c6, then you retreat your g5 bishop, and I think it's gain of tempo for white that black has a bishop on c6. On c6 is not the best place for the bishop to be in this square. And when you'll play knight d6, you attack the bishop on c6. So I think this is the idea to play c6.
I
Do you
think it's
agree?
a great idea. Yeah, I think it's really, really good. I think it's a really, really good idea.
And this is the kind of move that I think Erwin Lemy likes to play.
Agreed. Um, okay, good. Okay, let's see. Anything else of major developments? Shanklin has played bishop d7. Again, the main idea here is to play knight e5, something like this, uh, and ask black where he wants to put the bishop. Do you put the bishop on c6 or do you play the move rook c8? Which is possible, of course. Um, Again, standard, I say, queen's pawn position. This position has probably been seen many, many times before. Motilov has brought the bishop out to g5, which does make a lot of sense, of course. So let's see here. Bishop g5. And now the black rook probably has to move to e8. So what is white's plan here? I don't know. I really don't know what white's plan here is, actually. I really don't know. Not clear to me whatsoever what white's plan here is in this position. I don't have. In fact, I might prefer black here because I think you can get things going, or you can get some kind of break in with black. Not convinced for white. It's one of those positions where the computer plays it quite well, but we're not computers. In the Peshak game, things have gotten out of control. After h6, wow, Erwin didn't play c6. I find that quite interesting. Instead, he played bishop d2, and now Peshak, no problems at all. Took the knight, took the pawn on e5. His idea is that if you now go like this, rook f8, rook ac8 rather,
AC8.
is going to pin the pawn and you might be worse. This position can also be dangerous for white because if the bishops ever get traded, there are a lot of light squared weaknesses around here. And so, you know, it's absolutely not clear that white is better in this position, in my opinion.
I agree with you.
Bartel has moved the rook to e8. Bartel has moved the rook to e8. So rook to e8 played pretty quickly. Paul Vinicius did put the king on f2, and it's back over to Paul Vinicius. Is he going to put the knight on c3, on g3? One of those moves possible. And I can see that Akash has gone for f5. I really want Akash to win this game. I think he's been extremely unlucky to not win a game so far. So I would like to see it. I would like to see it.
I think he's in a good way to win this game. H6 was a dubious move, and now he's taking by playing f5 the initiative. So
exactly, 100%.
But he had many great position, and in a complex situation, it was a bit difficult for him to find the way for a win. But there were the game against Motilev, he was completely winning. I'm talking about Akash.
Yeah.
The game against Prutinevicius, I remember, very, very complex, and he had very good chances. And in the time during the Zeitnote, at around move 40, he didn't find a way to convert his advantage.
Right.
So let's hope that he will find a way to win this game. And I want to see a very strong defense from Stalmak. I want to see him fight for his game.
He's definitely a fighter, Stalmak. So I fully expect a strong defense here. No question about it. I fully expect a big fight in this game. So we'll see. All right, we are an hour into the final round of this year's competition. All the games are getting a little bit spicy. The opening stage is just about finishing. We're going to go for a short break, and we will be back in just a few minutes to see how things develop in this final round of the Prague Chess Festival 2023. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you soon.
My name is Karel Janeček. I am a mathematician and social innovator. For more than 12 years, I have been investing my energy to help society in various areas such as education, the science, art, sports, the fight against corruption, increasing public participation, as well as improving democratic processes. We are now at the crossroads of history, and my aim is to help our society to successfully face the critical challenges of our civilization. In 2013, I invented a revolutionary voting system D21 to bring consensus to our decisions. With the D21 system, we will have the opportunity to elect better politicians and prevent the polarization of society. Since 2016, D21 has been used in various participatory processes around the world, such as participatory budgeting in New York City and a big number of urban and city planning projects in the Czech Republic, France, Scotland, Tunisia, and India. The revolutionary D21 method has also been used in Czech, Slovak, Tunisian, or Zambian schools to teach democracy in a fun way and gives children a voice in what is important to them in the school environment. D21 applied to parliamentary or presidential elections will produce more consensual results, reducing populism and extremism. Small parties and independent candidates will gain space. This electoral method will produce positive campaigns and will not divide voters into opposing camps, which currently is a huge problem in elections around the world that use single vote systems such as first past the post. D21 is the key to finding consensus, and its wide adoption for political actions will heal our democracies. How does it work? Here is a small demonstration. The Janeček method D21 is a modern voting system. Standard polls only grant you one vote. This system works with more options, using positive and also possibly negative votes, which allow you to express your opinion with more precision. This way you don't have to vote for a lesser evil. You are free to select options to support and those who you strongly dislike. Such polls can work in politics, municipalities, companies, and even among friends. Let's take a look at a practical example. Citizens want to decide what the city's budget should be used for. It could be a cycling trail, a park, apartment blocks, a firehouse, or a VIP parking lot. When every citizen has only one vote, the VIP parking lot wins. This is because an organized minority can easily outvote the others. If every citizen had two votes instead, they might agree on the residential development. At the same time, the negative vote would reveal a controversial choice, in this case, the VIP parking lot. Janeček method D21 finds consensus, the solution with which more citizens are satisfied. Try out this modern voting system and upgrade the way you vote at www.participate21.cz. You can try it now.
Well, the plan for today was to have a game and checking the tournament results. It was easy to figure out that Akash is not having the best tournament. And when I checked his games from this tournament, it was quite visible that he is getting decent positions, but somehow probably the lack of practice, because he didn't play that much in previous years, is telling that in positions with a lot of pieces on the board, some problems happens. And my preparation for today was to get just a complex position where my opponent may blunder. But my preparation didn't happen. He quickly played at move number 4 bishop c5, and I was basically on my own because I checked it a long time ago. So I started to create some moves. I was pretty sure that they might have been a nonsense, but I just wanted to develop pieces and to get some position. And very quickly this way of thinking paid out, because my opponent maybe thought that I am just a beginner and I just have no idea about the openings, and he played a bit of careless moves. And once I put my knight on f5, I thought that even if this position is objectively equal or balanced, it's much easier for me to play because I have prospects to attack. And well, all of a sudden this attack gave a victory. Well, I mean, I am not really checking the situation in the tournament that much because my biggest task for last days is to have a decent sleep. I cannot make it. Somehow I am waking up at 4, at 5. I feel like 80. I am 40, but maybe it's starting a bit earlier, those problems with sleep. So I don't know what to do in the mornings. I am running or preparing, like for the game versus Vico. I was preparing from 5 to 8 in the morning, like I don't know. So I am happy to because of those problems with sleep, I am not feeling that well. So I am quite happy that result is, I would say, good. So I would just like to finish the tournament in a good fashion, and if it will be enough for the victory, it will be great. If it won't be enough, then I should somehow deal with my sleeping problems.
Yeah, finally I won a game. It's a bit relief. Yeah, I think bishop f5 is the critical mistake. He could just play rook fb8 or just threatening to take on b2. I think the game is around equal. I was going to play somehow a b3 or something like that. My opponent missed that after bishop f5 I can just take bishop f5. He was calculating mainly e4 and so on. And after bishop f5, somehow the position is a little bit unpleasant for black because okay, first of all, from an absolutely harmless position, he has to defend with a pawn down. I think once I manage to exchange c takes b3, rook b3, I think it should be technically winning somehow. Okay, it requires some. It requires not to blunder, basically, you know, not to make some mistake from the white side. But otherwise, I think it should win slowly because of the weak pawn structure, and also this rook on a5 is slightly out of play. Yeah, probably I was pushing maybe for an 8 draw, but jokes apart, I mean, I of course had some difficult positions, and I also had some chances in the previous 7 games. Okay, it happens. I mean, many players. I think there are two players probably haven't had all draws. So it's strong players. Each opponent is hard to win against. So I'm happy to win a game, and yeah, we'll see tomorrow is the last round.
I'd say on average 3 hours.
I prepare some classes for students, so probably one day I have to do like 1-2 hours.
I have 2-year-old daughter, so not as before, but still I think we easily at least 5 hours on average.
The key of success is that I'm enjoying chess and I'm not counting this.
I'm standing per day 5.5 hours, but after that I'm following always chess games or talking with some chess players about chess.
Yeah, I would say like probably if I'm trying to do something like a training camp, maybe 8 to 10, and otherwise around 5 to 6. That's
8 hours per day.
Hard to say. 7, 8, yeah, more or less, yeah.
I think when I was a kid it would be like all day, but now probably like a few hours, but it's very inconsistent.
Maybe 4 or 5.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back. This is live coverage of the final round of this year's Prague Chess Festival. We've got the Masters and Challengers tournaments, everything to play for. No winners yet. Get the bunch of permutations. Many players could win either tournament. So we'll see what is going on. In the main event, in the Masters section, it has been all about Ray Robson and Daniel Bogdan-Deac. They are both leading the tournament today. Ray Robson playing his compatriot Sam Shankland, and we have a classical isolated Queen's Pawn Isolani position. 95 played the move that I thought Ray was going to play, and now it's on to Sam Shankland. What is he going to do in this position? Very natural move here is just to move the rook to c8. This looks like a very decent move. Perhaps Sam is also considering the move bishop c6, not worrying about takes, because actually, when you give up this knight for this bishop, you lose a bit of initiative. So that could very much happen. That is a real possibility. That game can go in all directions. And in the Bogdan-Deac game, we have a very slow Spanish, but Vincent has got a perfectly good version for black here. White has played something extremely slow, extremely toothless in many ways. White is just not that interested in causing any waves in the opening, wants to prolong the game, and for sure has got one eye on the Ray Robson game. So we'll see what happens there. In the challengers, action all over the place. Leading the tournament, if you've just joined us, is the experienced Mateusz Bartel, and he has gone for it today. He's not changed his style. He's got a fantastically complex position against Paul Vinicius. We last saw it after King f2, Rook e8. Paul Vinicius does go knight g3 and bishop c7 by Bartel, just anticipating one of these knight moves. And it's one of those positions where, you know, if you know how to navigate here as black, and you've analyzed this extensively, you know, you could be in really good shape. Bishop might come to b6 soon. Looks terribly, terribly difficult for white. Natasha, You would take black here all day, wouldn't you, in this position here?
Yes, I would. And I really like this move, bishop c7, with the idea to put your bishop in the diagonal a7 g1, where the king is quite weak.
Yes.
And yes, I would take black every day. And you also have ideas with your queenside pawn majority.
Mm-hmm.
You can also go for queen. I mean, can play a5 and then go for b5, and
it's not so easy though, right? Because the bishop is here. I think your idea of putting the bishop here though is a real
you have to prepare it, of course, but it can be a long-term plan too.
Yes, but you're right. I would take black here all day of the week. Also, because Paul Vinicius is already down to 40 minutes. 40 minutes already, which is not a long time when you've got this position to have to analyze. This is not easy. This is not easy at all. And I fully expect Bartel to put the pressure on. Actually, we do have a move by Paul Vinicius. He does play the move knight to e4. Yeah, so knight to e4 played. Okay, so now bishop b6 is not really so easy because of the move knight d6. So Bartel will play the move queen c6 here, not fearing rook takes a7, because this runs into bishop b6 or queen b6 or something like that, and you lose the d4 pawn, right? So I don't expect this to really happen at all. So, but I do expect queen c6 here. I do expect to move queen c6 here for sure. And again, looks very, very good. And wow, we've got action in the Stalmach game all of a sudden here. What is going on in this position? We last saw it after f5. We thought this was a good move. Castles queenside, also big fan. And now knight to e2 by Akash. Not fearing c4, he doesn't lose a piece because after takes, he can put the bishop on g6. But now Stalmach has reacted with the move knight takes e5. So black wins a pawn thanks to the pin here. However, yeah. Natasha, your thoughts here?
No, I was trying to see if I can take the knight on e5, then knight takes e5, knight takes, d takes, bishop, queen e3. And if there's something after rook f7, but actually, or knight d4, but no, black is okay.
No, I don't think so.
Black is fine. So I have to find something else for white.
Yeah, I think you probably do, actually. I don't like that. What about just going knight f4 here, protecting the bishop? If takes, you can take, and after rook g8, I don't know, try and play on the dark squares. Also looks possible, no?
Yes.
To play like this. Also looks possible. But it certainly double-edged position all of a sudden. Another completely double-edged position is what we have here, Peshak against Lamy. Material is actually equal for the moment, but white has got these two A pawns. But black has got the weak C pawn. Something is telling me that white is better here, but it might not be that much.
For you, C pawn is weak?
I would say so, yeah. Do you not think so?
No, I don't think so.
I mean, it's not weak in the sense of, you know, it's an isolated pawn and it's protected, but it can be targeted. I don't know, and the two bishops leave an impression for me here, but
yeah, but the knight on d5 is very strong, controlling so many squares. b4, c3, e3, f4, and it's just how to say, it controls the knight totally controls the b2, the d2 bishop.
Yeah.
So
No, it's a big knight. Yeah, I mean, I don't think black is probably objectively worse here. We'll see. We'll see what
what will happen,
Erwin
yes.
can do. Yes, exactly. In the Motilov Gladura game, which is also a key game for this round, we have an interesting position after this Russian defense, as it's called. And Queen e7 now played by Gladura. And what to do now with white? I mean, it's very difficult. Maybe you just start throwing your pawn up the board. Play a move like a4. Try and create something. You know, a4, rook b5, a5, for example. Something along those lines looks like a pretty good idea.
Or even a5 directly. a5, c4. No, maybe you don't need the rook to go to b5.
Because if
and
he
then
takes,
you go for
you just
c4.
want to... you want to play with c4 and just attack this pawn.
I want to open everything in your queen side. I want to open the pies, diagonals. And I think even if
totally makes sense.
The queen was on d7, maybe, because black just played queen d7, queen e7. And I think even with the queen on d7, we can go for a move like a4. In the previous, after bishop e3, yes, the previous position. So yeah, a4 I think is a very strong move for white.
Makes perfect sense to me. Makes perfect sense. So we'll see about that one. That one is a bit more of a slow burner. In the main event, Martirosyan has put his rook on e3, which of course makes sense. But again, Hare Krishna, so solid here, with the rook able to come to e8. This doesn't feel like a major threat to me. Rook to f3. I'm not that bothered by it. But let's say I bring my rook to e8 and you go rook f3. And I move my queen. I don't see this being, you know, a major problem, basically. You know, I think Hare Krishna has basically got absolutely everything under control in this game. What else? What else is going on of major interest here?
I think we should go to the other leader. Have a look.
The other leader.
Yeah, Deak against Kamer. I think we should have a look just to see how it goes for both.
Well, we looked at this not so long ago. And you know, we have a very quiet Spanish, basically. I don't think black has got any particular problems in this position, to be brutally honest. It looks more like a what's it called? A Sicilian, doesn't it? A Sveshnikov or something like that. It actually looks much more like that, doesn't it? Wouldn't you agree with this structure? But you know, for example, the Sveshnikov move, bishop g5, comes to mind, to just put the bishop on h6.
Yes, yeah, to activate your bishop.
Or the move that Kmar just played, same idea, to go here and then maybe king h8, f5. I don't think Vincent is feeling uncomfortable here whatsoever. I think Vincent feels completely fine here. I think Vincent feels completely fine in this position. Wang Hao win is a very solid affair. I do expect some kind of draw in this game. I think it's very hard to be motivated in these games when, you know, you're not playing for very much. You're at the bottom of the table, and you're playing somebody very solid. So Wang Hao just play queen b3. The only thing that's going against black is that he can be left with these so-called hanging pawns if he's not careful in this position. And so, you know, I think that, you know, black can have some structural issues long term, but for the moment, he's extremely solid. And I expect the rook just to go back to a8 here as well. I expect the rook just to go back to a8 in this position as well.
I think in this position, if you, as you said, instead of playing a move like rook a8, if black doesn't want to take on d4 because although white has so many squares to enter into black positions, c6, c7, so they after rook a8, they will have to play the hanging pawns anyway.
After this, you mean takes.
They have no choice than going to
that's true.
this kind of position.
That is true. Yeah, I still take white here, but it's a hanging pawns where you do get play as well. I'm not entirely sure. I'm not entirely sure. It feels kind of balanced. Ray Robson has put the pawn on a5. I think this is a very good decision by Ray. A lot of the time, the a5 square can actually be used as well by black. So white advances on the queen side, which looks completely reasonable to me to play like this. And so, again, the onus now is on black here to try something. It's not completely obvious to me what black's plan is in this position, how he wishes to consolidate. I think white just wants to drop the bishop back to b3 very soon, and here sort of you know, weigh up his options. He's always looking at this d5 idea and so on and so forth. But black, it's not clear. I think black is a bit tentative about putting the bishop on c6 because there are knight takes f7 ideas. For example, this here, does this move exist in this position? Wouldn't surprise me if it does exist. Typical idea. What I like, what Ray is doing here is he's keeping many of his options alive. And I think that's the right thing to do when you're leading the tournament, playing this opening. In fact, I think it's been a strategic masterpiece in many ways by Ray Robson to play like this. It's been very, very well done. Back to the Paul Vinicius game, we did see Queen c6 and Bishop e2 by Paul Vinicius. And now it's over to Bartel, who I'm pretty sure will play Bishop b6, because this is just a natural move. But maybe Paul Vinicius has got the idea of Bishop a5 here. That's why Bartel is not playing Bishop b6 quickly. And trading these bishops has to be a great result for white, because this really is a powerful bishop. So are there any other moves here apart from this Bishop b6 idea? You could put the bishop on b7 and try and save some tempi, but even that is not completely. I mean, the position's going to be unclear forever, basically. The position is just supposed to be unclear here. Which is fine, of course. It'll be interesting to see how Bartel handles this position. I absolutely do not have a clear handle over this position. I know I would prefer black, but Paul Vinicius has also shown that he's very resourceful.
There are also very interesting ideas for black when it will be the right time to play f5, attack the knight, and also open the sixth rank so the queen can go to the king side. I think this also is an interesting idea to adapt with a plan that Bartel will decide to play.
Yeah, I still like Bartel's practical chances here. Akash against Stalmak has actually followed in exactly the way we said. Akash now playing knight f4, and something like this is plausible, but this looks like a very pleasant position for white because this bishop just never gets into the game. And if you go bishop d6, you can even take even something like this for white looks fairly decent. You put the rook on e1, the knight on e5, and this bishop is just in jail on b7, never gets out. You've got the f-file to play with. Wouldn't surprise me at all if this position was actually better for white. So Akash might have seen all of that actually and just understood that he has fantastic compensation. Vikuk against Finek is very interesting as well. Very, very unbalanced. The knight on b3 doing a good job. Is white going to play f4 here? Very possibly. f4 is certainly a move here. And so we'll see. We'll see about that one. Very tough to say what white should do. f4, can you just play king g2 and h4? Really tough position. I think this position is a bit more easy to understand, even though it is also extremely complex because things are a bit more forcing. So white's just played bishop c3. Now, it could be the case that if Peshak takes and we get something like this, that we get a draw very quickly. I mean, that is plausible.
But after knight takes c3, you have also bishop takes b7 to see.
And then a6. That's actually a very good point. a6 is a really big move next. So actually, I don't think Peshak is... Well, he of course could play this move. But, you know, what else can he play in this position, basically? Black doesn't have many moves here. Actually, he can only play queen d3 or knight takes c3. One of these two moves. So it's a good question. Which one is he going to play here? Queen d3 is very interesting because it allows bishop e5. And then you're forced to trade like this. And I think this is exactly what Erwin wants, some kind of simplification like this, where after rook a8, rook a1, he just has a very nice advantage, stable advantage here with white with the passed a pawn. Now, it might not be very much, objectively. Objectively, this might not be very much, but, you know, at the same time, who knows? I think Lamy would prefer something a little less hectic. So some very interesting positions there in that game. Bogdan Dayak has moved the knight back to e3, which also, of course, makes a whole ton of sense. But a long game there, I fully just expect the bishop to come back to g7. Gelfand Navarro also quiet in many ways. After knight f3, very, very quiet. And, well, we'll see what happens there. We did, in fact, have rook f3 by Martirosian, actually. And now I expect queen h4 to happen by Harry Krishna.
I think after queen h4, maybe I can play bishop takes e6. Is that the problem? You have to take
And
on
bishop
e5.
takes. Yeah.
And I have to take on e5, and you take on.
This is just equal. At this level, equal material, this really should just be a draw. Yeah, I don't expect miracles in this game here. I really don't expect miracles here.
Okay, because Hari Krishna is third in the Masters with 4.5 points, just half a point behind Diak and Robson.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he will try a little bit more, no? I think with black.
Yeah, I'm not sure how. I mean, theoretically he should try, but how much can you try in this position? It's a good question. Are you actually able to pressurize?
I don't know. Maybe I can go to. If
Queen
h4 goes directly to a draw, maybe
then go e7.
Queen e7 to keep a little bit the position complex.
It's possible. And something like this. Yeah, I mean, maybe he will do that.
Black. This is good for black.
Maybe he will do that, actually. That's true. That's possible.
We saw him playing equal position till the end. So I don't think he will give up so easily.
It's very, very possible. Peshak did, in fact, take on c3. So we might get this. I think Erwin will take on b7 here. And play a6. And I think he's going to be happy, actually. I think he's going to be happy about this. I think he's going to be happy.
I think so.
And, well, some questions to answer for Peshak. Finnick has put the knight on d4. Also, this kind of looks like a logical continuation here. And I think, you know, if there's some kind of trade on d4, I think you just have to be extremely, extremely happy here as Finnick. I don't think Vikuk has got legitimately anything in this position. In fact, I might even prefer black slightly. So, yeah, we see knight takes d4. He's going to take back on d4. And this position here is quite simply, fine for black. Nothing much to say here. Bartel did put the bishop on b6 immediately, and Paul Vinicius expectedly played the move bishop a5. So now the question is, what to do now with black?
Okay, can we try f5? I know it's just a move to.
You want to go f5 immediately? Yeah, that makes sense. You want to kick the knight and then maybe put the knight on e3. Something knight c3, knight e3. Yeah. Queen d2, only move. You can now play queen g6. All of these moves really come very naturally, come in flow here.
Okay, maybe G3.
G3.
To prevent.
All natural stuff. All very, very natural. And what to do after G3? You can play F4 here, actually. You can play F4. What a complex position, but this really suits. Actually, I think this position suits both players when it comes to complexity. I think this position suits both players. I really do.
Yeah, but now I can take on B5 with white.
Knight takes B5. Yeah. Not a clear way here for black at all, right?
It's very complex.
Very complex. Yeah, agreed. Agreed. All right, we'll keep an eye on that one. Yes, Ami Lemi did take on B7, so I think Erwin is going to be really happy now because when he plays A6 next, this pawn is very close to doing something. So I think this is a kind of serious improvement for Erwin. We did see Motilov play A4. No moves have been played there. We've had this position already some 20, 30 minutes ago. And some questions to answer also for Gledora, how he wishes to proceed. Gelfa Navarre is a very, very slow grind in this position here. And well, we'll see here again what happens. Shanklin put the bishop on E8 here. Shanklin put the bishop on E8 in this position. Very interesting. Just getting out the way. So what do you now do as white in this classic isolated queen's pawn position? So if you play something standard like bishop e3, is he going to go knight fd5? Is this a move? And the answer is probably yes, trying to exchange pieces. So Ray needs to find a way here to keep chances because he knows that Deac is also in a very slow position. So he needs to find a way that doesn't liquidate everything too quickly. And that might not be straightforward. That might not be straightforward at all. I don't see it. I don't see an easy way. I really like bishop e8 by Shanklin. I think this was a very smart move. Very, very smart.
It's not very usual to see in this kind of pawn structure the plan a4, a5.
That's true.
It's not usual at all, and actually it doesn't prevent moves like knight fd5.
Yeah,
So,
it is quite unusual. I mean, there's so much use for this pawn to be on a3 in all of these isolated queen's pawn positions because it stops knight b4. You are right with the pawn on a5. There's just a little bit more space behind here, I would say. And you're absolutely right. I think Sam is actually going to be quite happy about this position. I think Sam is going to be happy. We did get something in the Hare Krishna game. Rook f3, he did go queen e7. Well done, Natasha. Trying to keep pieces on the board. Queen e4, but now he's forced to take because I think now there's some knight f7, knight g6 stuff. So you have to take and queen takes e5. And what's going on in this position here? And what's going on here? Well,
I think that now white is threatening to take on e6, and so both sides would have a isolated pawn. An isolated. So yeah, so we have to. I don't think black wants it, so they have to prevent. They have to do
I'm
something
not sure.
against
I mean,
taking on the e6. If you want to play
is
for
that
win, or
is that such a big deal to allow this? You know, let me just say, for example, this, right?
I think yes.
No, this is no problem for black at all.
Yeah, but
right?
you're going for a draw. If you want to play for
Right.
more.
Yeah, right. But I'm not really sure how black plays for more here. That's the problem. I think Hari Krishna understands that white just has too many ways to liquidate here.
Maybe you can try move like rook d6, rook
Rook
f
d6.
d8, and this kind of idea.
I understand what you're saying. Yes, I understand what you're saying. It is possible, but
And if you try,
I don't believe it's ever enough. There's just too few pieces. Let's say I go here, rook f8. I don't know, rook e1. Let's say.
okay, maybe I can move my queen somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, I can try and mate.
Okay, rook g8.
But now you've gone passive. You've gone rook d8 and then rook g8, right?
Yeah, but now I'm threatening to take on d4.
Not really, because I have this.
Yeah, but if you trade bishop, I
know
I go
can't
to the
take
position but also I get the position I want with black, and then I will try slowly to take advantage with your isolated pawn. And it's true that the rook on the third rank is very, very active,
good,
actually.
yeah. The problem is so many of these rook endings are a draw as well. That's the problem, Natasha. I don't think Hari Krishna has got any legitimate winning chances, actually, in this position. I just don't feel it at all, basically. Yeah, I don't think it's realistic that there's something here. Okay, we'll keep an eye on it, though. You never know. Wow, Peshak has put his queen on a7. So it went c4, queen b2, queen a7, hitting the bishop, protecting the bishop, and the knight comes back to d5. And now, if I move my queen, let's say to e2, like this, I'm threatening your rook and your pawn. And are you going to sacrifice the exchange here like this? It would not surprise me to see that at all by Jurgis Peshek. Of all the players in the world, I think he's one where we can confidently say he would do something like this. But is it enough? It's a legitimate question. It's a very, very legitimate question. Is this enough compensation here?
I don't think so, but
I also don't. I have a bad feeling because I feel like I can still use this a pawn, but I don't quite know. I don't quite know how I would do that.
Because black wants to play rook c6 and rook takes a5. I'm sorry. Sorry. I have a guest.
Yeah.
Sorry.
A furry guest. A very furry guest. Yeah, so this is, possible. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me to see something like this happen. It wouldn't. But it's up to it's very much up to Erwin now.
Yes.
What about Akash against Stalmach? So we have this position after rook g8, and we have basically the position we looked at 20-30 minutes ago after rook g8, and well, I think that white has got full compensation after bishop f4.
Yeah, there is so many moves: bishop f4, queen g4, with the idea to play rook f7 and then to bring the other rook. Rook a f1. As you said, the b7 bishop is dead. I mean, everything will go will happen in this game in the dark square now. This is where white are stronger.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about the dark squares in this game. So okay, so rook g8 on the board. We'll see what happens. We do have action in the Pulp Vinicius game. We do have action in this game. So knight f4 played here. And what actually happened? So it went bishop a5. He decided to take. He didn't go f5. So he took queen b6. Very logical. Rook a1. And now f5. Knight c3 and knight f4. Also a very logical passage of play. Also a very, very logical passage of play here. And I guess here rook e1 is just the move you play if you're in a blitz game. Black will bring his bishop up. The question is what next? Because it's difficult to go here because of takes and then takes. So how do you get things going? And do you ever want to go g3 here? This is the big question. Do you ever want to play g3 here? And I'm not sure you do. That's the point. I'm actually not sure you want to play g3 in this position. Because you weaken the diagonal. So how do you unravel? And if you play a move like queen d2, now you run into all kinds of traps. So there are still, you know, in this position here, there are still questions to answer here. 100%. Like white still needs to tread very, very carefully in this position. Very, very carefully. I would still take black, in fact. I would still take black here, 100%. I would still take black. One of my favorite games so far of the round, though, I have to say. Gladura has played the move queen a3. Very interesting to go for this particular line by Gladura. He's decided to use the queen as a defensive piece and to prevent some a5 stuff, which of course makes a lot of sense. This makes a lot of sense.
I think we should have a look on c4 for white in this
immediately.
Position. Immediately. And if d takes, bishop e4.
Oh, that's a very interesting concept. Actually, that
I
looks
don't know.
very strong. No,
After
looks...
c6, if
no,
we
I
can
just
take on c6,
yeah.
you just take.
Of course, we don't even think about it. And if you take, this is just game over.
Yeah, and rook d1 and yeah.
Whatever you want. Ah, so c4 here is actually a very interesting concept. c4 is actually a very interesting concept.
Maybe c4, d4?
Actually, wait. So c4, d4.
What happens?
Bishop d2, and your queen suddenly can get into trouble.
Yeah, you're threatening a5 too.
Yeah. And a5. Whoa.
And c5, a5 and c5.
I think he finds c4, you know. I think it's a very findable move here. Very findable.
Especially for Motilev, it's totally his style.
Absolutely. So what is the best move against this? Because if you take, firstly, taking on d5 is not ridiculous. That's number one, and who knows. And secondly, I can take actually both ways. This is actually quite interesting. I mean, I don't know if this is
enough,
but it could be, you know. It could be. Because let's say I take. You have to defend here. Queen c3. Okay, maybe it's not enough. It's a bit much, but I actually do believe Motilev will go c4 and we'll get a really complex position with Gladura with 30 minutes and Motilev with 42 minutes. Erwin Lamy did play Queen e2, by the way, so no big surprise there. And in this position here, let me just see. After Queen e2, I do believe Peshak is going to give up the exchange with c3. Because I just don't think you can play something else. You know, if you go here, I'm just going to take the pawn. And this really is massive for white, this position. Because with 2 passed A pawns, it's just too much. It's just too much. Okay, so we'll keep an eye on that. Daniel Bogdan-Deck has put the bishop on d5. Bishop d7 now by Kama looks completely reasonable. And just looks like dynamic equality. Typical position which looks fairly balanced. We did get exactly this in the Ray Robson game, in the other critical game of the round. Knight d5 was played. And knight takes d5. And now you can't take on h4 because you lose the b4 knight. So you have to take back on d5. The question is how? If you take with the knight, I might take. And again, you can't take here. And if you take here, I'm going to take your pawn. So you have to take this way. And something like this, Ray might actually like the look of, actually.
Yeah, I think this position is good for white because the knight is playing against the bad bishop. The e8 bishop is light square, and black has the d5 pawn on a light square too. So this is, I think, a good and I was going to say an end game for white, and so this isn't what Sam Shankland wants. Maybe there is something better to do after knight takes d5.
I mean, knight takes is just so logical here, isn't it?
Can I take with a pawn?
You can take with the pawn immediately. We get something similar, right? Something like takes, and here. So the question is it better to have the knight on b4? Probably is, right? It's probably a slightly better version than what we just saw, but it's very close. And actually, Sam agrees with you here. Sam totally agrees with you in this position. So he does take back with it. Bishop takes e7 played.
Queen takes, of course.
Queen takes e7, and now he'll drop the bishop back to fb3. And so f6, sorry, f6 doesn't win a piece, right? Why doesn't f6 win a piece? What am I missing? Some tactics training.
f6, I think there is queen g4.
And the rook is hanging. Nice. Yeah, f6, queen g4. That's an important spot, actually, because from afar it looks as though you might lose a piece. But no, Ray obviously will have seen that. And so queen takes e7, bishop b3, and black to play. Still looks like it's okay for black, but you do have a d pawn that can be attacked. So still some stuff to work out there for Shankland. Hari Krishna has got exactly the sort of ending we were discussing, Natasha, where we have a position where black is going to be able to play against this isolated d pawn, but the rook endings are just so drawish. Even taking here, I think, is sufficient for a draw. Something like, let's say, rook d1, rook fd8, let's say rook bd3, c5,
rook d5.
D5. Rook d5 you want to play, yeah. But now king f1, and if you go c5, yeah, even this, I reckon, is a draw. Because white gets active and a change of one rook, and this king is very far away. But of course, you can play this position as black. That's the thing.
Of course, you will have to fight with white.
You can play this on, yes.
Fight to survive.
You can fight to survive here.
But I think Hari Krishna is happy if he gets this position. He will just take the time to torture his opponents.
Yeah, he knows it's no risk. So it's nice to play in a no-risk situation. That's for sure. That is a very nice position to be in. That is a very nice situation to be in, indeed. So, what else can we go to? Let's see here. We do have some movement in the Wang Hao game. D takes c5 played. And, well, we could get that case of hanging pawns, but without queens on the board, which, of course, is very reasonable. And
black is, I think, black is fine in this position because, okay, they have hanging pawns, but they control so many squares: b4, c4, d4, e4, and they also have the b5. Okay, the bishop on g3 is controlling the b8 square, but if black, for example, play maybe rook c8 and then rook b6, I think they are in control.
Yeah, black controls some good squares, and he's managing. Yeah, it's not the worst case of hanging pawns, especially if this pawn goes to a4.
Of course, yeah. Yeah, white position is a bit tight, actually.
Yes. Indeed. Okay. Let's see here. What else is going on? H5 by Navarra, gaining space against Boris Gelfand looks completely reasonable. Again, a very slow burner, this position here. A very, very slow burner. And we'll wait for that one, I think. We did get the move c4, and your move d4 immediately by Gladura. But this is bad news for black after bishop d2. Is this the first game where we have a decisive position? I believe it probably is. The problem is a5 and rook a1 is a threat. If you take on a4, I can now go c5. This is the problem. And I am getting through to this key square on b7. So I do believe that that black is in big trouble here. I do believe that black is in big trouble here.
Yes, there is. And Gladura, yes, he's okay. So Gladura is second with 5 points with Motilev and Pultinivicius.
Yeah.
And so if Motilev wins this game, which it's after bishop d2, okay, he's not played yet, but if he plays bishop d2, he has very good chances to win the game.
For sure.
He will 6 points. So I think we have to have a look of what's happening in Bartel Mateusz games against Vinicius.
Let's do it. Wow. We have a real fight here. b4 played by Bartel. Hitting the knight will go to a4, and now I guess queen d6 or queen h6. One of these moves will be played by Bartel, and still I would take black, even though I understand the dangers of this position. I think he'll put the queen on d6 because it does a good job on d6, covering everything. If you go back to g1, you lose the pawn on d4. And I might just be threatening well, I can be threatening a lot of things in this position. Knight takes e2, queen takes h2. There's a lot of things going on right now.
Yeah, and you said that king g1 is not possible because of rook takes e2. Is that?
Yeah, I mean, rook takes e2, rook takes e2, and queen takes d4 check is interesting. You can fall for traps like this and you lose. So the game's still absolutely sort of close in that sense.
And if the players go and see the other board,
yeah,
I think that it can add pressure to.
I don't think Bartel, he's an experienced grandmaster. I don't think he's going to do that actually.
You mean feeling pressure?
I don't think he's good. Yeah, I don't think he's going to be too bothered about the other. Okay, I don't think he's going to be too bothered. No. I think he's just going to focus on this game because the game is too complicated to be really involved in other boards. He needs to be fully, fully focused on this game. Vikuk has managed to put the bishop out on a5. This position has been really difficult to grasp. Actually, this position has been really, really difficult to grasp. I still don't know who is better. I feel as though I would take white, but I also understand that black has got really good central control here. Wouldn't surprise me at all if black was better, even though I would take white. Also wouldn't surprise me if the position was equal. That also would just not surprise me at all. Peshak did give up the exchange, but an exchange is an exchange, and I think Erwin is going to be very happy. Rook takes g3 is a threat here, so you go king g2 with white, you threaten this. And I don't see Peshak holding on to this game against Erwin Lamy. Way too difficult to hold. Unless there are some endings where you do this. The question is this ending a draw? That's the question. Is this endgame a draw here after rook takes a6?
I
With
don't
the
think
path,
it. No.
difficult to believe, isn't it?
Yes, yes. Without the pawn, maybe, but with the a pawn, it's definitively not a draw. It will take the time that it will take, but white will win quite easily, I think.
I agree. Yeah, I think white will win quite easily. Yeah, I think so. I just don't believe. I mean, without the a pawn, it's a clear draw, right? That much we can say. Without the a pawn, it's a clear draw. Bishop d2 has been played by Motilov. Big. What a sad finish for Glidora. Leading the tournament after 7 rounds, loses a tough round 8, and he could lose round 9, and he could just finish 3rd or 4th. As simple as that. You lose 2 in a row in this tournament, and suddenly you're in 3rd or 4th position.
He cannot be 4th, I think.
Maybe 4th is a bit too much, but actually
maybe
no, he
third
can. He can. He can because Motilov will overtake him. Bartel already has more points than him, and Paul Vinicius. Well, if Paul Vinicius loses,
yes. Yeah,
well,
you're right here.
he can finish. I mean, if there's a Lamy win or Vico, lots of things could happen. He could finish in the middle of the entire table, which would be really, really sad if that were to happen.
It wouldn't reflect his tournament at all.
No, it wouldn't. It would be a really unfortunate finish. Massive liquidation in Wang Hao against Nguyen. Looks like it's been quite a good one for Wang Hao, but maybe once again it's one of those slightly deceptive positions where Black's only weakness is here and he has all the compensation down the B file. The computer is not that impressed by White's position, so it's probably not much here at all, in fact. And let's see what happens then in that one. Ray Robson keeping his chances alive. Queen d2 just played. He'll probably want to put a rook on e1, probably put this rook on c1, claim that this is a weakness, but objectively I don't think Sam is in serious trouble here. Doesn't feel like it.
No, Sam will improve his bishop position by playing bishop f5 and
something like rook c1. Yeah, it's certainly balanced. Let's put it like this. So, and Martirosian has played d5. Martirosian has played d5. This is probably a very clever idea by Martirosian. You can't take us of this, and if you take this way, White takes on a7. I think this is a clean equalizer, and now there's just no way to avoid the draw as Hari Krishna, in my opinion, because White is just too solid. Way too solid.
Yeah, d5 is a very good move. Just it stops all discussion. It will be a draw.
It does. Okay. So we carry on. In fact, maybe now is actually another moment for us to just get a refill of coffee. We are nearly 2.5 hours into the round. only one game that looks critical so far, and that is the game of Motilov Glidura, where I believe Glidura is dead lost. Peshak also has got a very difficult position, in my opinion. Apart from that, we've got some very interesting games elsewhere going on. Of course, the leaders of both sections still with massive chances. So we'll be back after this break. Don't go anywhere. See you soon.
My name is Karel Janeček. I am a mathematician and social innovator. For more than 12 years, I have been investing my energy to help society in various areas such as education, the science, art, sports, the fight against corruption, increasing public participation, as well as improving democratic processes. We are now at the crossroads of history, and my aim is to help our society to successfully face the critical challenges of our civilization. In 2013, I invented a revolutionary voting system D21 to bring consensus to our decisions. With the D21 system, we will have the opportunity to elect better politicians and prevent the polarization of society. Since 2016, D21 has been used in various participatory processes around the world, such as participatory budgeting in New York City and a big number of urban and city planning projects in the Czech Republic, France, Scotland, Tunisia, and India. The revolutionary D21 method has also been used in Czech, Slovak, Tunisian, or Zambian schools to teach democracy in a fun way and gives children a voice in what is important to them in the school environment. D21 applied to parliamentary or presidential elections will produce more consensual results, reducing populism and extremism. Small parties and independent candidates will gain space. This electoral method will produce positive campaigns and will not divide voters into opposing camps, which currently is a huge problem in elections around the world that use single vote systems such as first past the post. D21 is the key to finding consensus, and its wide adoption for political elections will heal our democracies. How does it work? Here is a small demonstration. The Janeček method D21 is a modern voting system. Standard polls only grant you one vote. This system works with more options, using positive and also possibly negative votes, which allow you to express your opinion with more precision. This way you don't have to vote for a lesser evil. You are free to select options to support and those who you strongly dislike. Such polls can work in politics, municipalities, companies, and even among friends. Let's take a look at a practical example. Citizens want to decide what the city's budget should be used for. It could be a cycling trail, a park, apartment blocks, a firehouse, or a VIP parking lot. When every citizen has only one vote, the VIP parking lot wins. This is because an organized minority can easily outvote the others. If every citizen had 2 votes instead, they might agree on the residential development. At the same time, the negative vote would reveal a controversial choice, in this case, the VIP parking lot. Janeček method D21 finds consensus, the solution with which more citizens are satisfied. Try out this modern voting system and upgrade the way you vote at www.participate21.cz. You can right now, voting each day for the best chess games at the Prague Chess Festival. Simply go to www.praguechessfestival.cz/voting. Karel Janeček, proud partner of Prague Chess Festival. My name is Karel Janeček, and I am a mathematician and a social innovator. When I was a kid, I played chess competitively and loved strategic card games. I may have been a mathematician since birth, at least as far as I can remember. For more than 12 years, I have been investing my energy to help society in various areas such as education, the science, art, sports, the fight against corruption, increasing public participation, as well as improving democratic processes. We are now at the crossroads of history, and my aim is to help our society to successfully face the critical challenges of our civilization. In 2013, I invented a revolutionary voting system D21 to bring consensus to our decisions. With the D21 system, we will have the opportunity to elect better politicians and prevent the polarization of society. D21 is the key to saving democracy, and its implementation for political elections is absolutely crucial. Another innovative product we developed together with scientists from the Science 21 Foundation is the revolutionary mathematics game Mateso. I believe that Mateso will enable children from all over the world to learn mathematics in a fun way and help them develop critical thinking, a crucial skill in today's turbulent times of omnipresent information and misinformation. That is why we came up with the innovative board game Mateso, which brings mathematics closer to all age groups in a fun way. By playing Mateso, preschool children subconsciously gain knowledge of key information about the structure of the number system without having to know any number or perform a single calculation. Namely, the game includes a multiplication table, prime numbers, factorials, Fibonacci numbers, and the concept of zero. By playing this game, a so-called backbone algorithmic system is created in a very entertaining way. It is a natural consequence of certainty in all basic mathematical operations. With Mateso, starting primary school mathematics would no longer be scary. It will change into a fun subject. For school-age children and teenagers, this game has a similar effect. However, the activation rate of the backbone algorithmic system is inversely proportional to the age and the level of dislike of mathematics that individuals acquired during the classical educational process. For adults, this game is not only a way to teach their children the necessary basics in mathematics, but also an opportunity to find their own acquired blockages in this field and gradually get rid of them. Mathematics is all around us, and it is beautiful. However, its beauty is easy to overlook if we don't know how to look. Mateso is the way to learn it. Karel Janeček, proud partner of Prague International Chess Festival.
Well, the plan for today was to have a game and checking the tournament results, it was easy to figure out that Akash is not having the best tournament. And when I checked his games from this tournament, it was quite visible that he is getting decent positions, but somehow probably the lack of practice, because he didn't play that much in previous years, is telling that in positions with a lot of pieces on the board, some problems happens. And my preparation for today was to get just a complex position where my opponent may blunder. But my preparation didn't happen. He quickly played at move number 4 bishop c5, and I was basically on my own because I checked it a long time ago. So I started to create some moves. I was pretty sure that they might have been nonsense, but I just wanted to develop pieces and to get some position. And very quickly this way of thinking paid out, because my opponent maybe thought that I am just a beginner and I just have no idea about the openings, and he played a bit of careless moves. And once I put my knight on f5, I thought that even if this position is objectively equal or balanced, it's much easier for me to play because I have prospects to attack. And well, all of a sudden this attack gave a victory. Well, I mean, I am not really checking the situation in the tournament that much because my biggest task for last days is to have a decent sleep. I cannot make it. Somehow I am waking up at 4, at 5. I feel like 80. I am 40, but maybe it's starting a bit earlier, those problems with sleep. So I don't know what to do in the mornings. I am running or preparing, like for the game versus Vico. I was preparing from 5 to 8 in the morning, like I don't know. So I am happy to because of those problems with sleep, I am not feeling that well. So I am quite happy that result is, I would say, good. So I would just like to finish the tournament in a good fashion, and if it will be enough for the victory, it will be great. If it won't be enough, then I should somehow deal with my sleeping problems.
Yeah, finally I won a game. It's a bit relief. Yeah, I think bishop f5 is the critical mistake. He could just play rook fb8 or just threatening to take on b2. I think the game is around equal. I was going to play somehow a b3 or something like that. My opponent missed that after bishop f5 I can just take bishop f5. He was calculating mainly e4 and so on. And after bishop f5, somehow the position is a little bit unpleasant for black because. Okay, first of all, from an absolutely harmless position, he has to defend with a pawn down. I think once I manage to exchange c takes b3, rook b3, I think it should be technically winning somehow. Okay, it requires some. It requires not to blunder, basically, not to make some mistake from the white side. But otherwise I think it should win slowly because of the weak pawn structure, and also this rook on a5 is slightly out of play. Yeah, probably I was pushing maybe for an 8 draw, but jokes apart, I mean, I of course had some difficult positions, and I also had some chances in the previous 7 games. Okay, it happens. I mean, many players. I think there are two players probably haven't had all draws. So it's strong players. Each opponent is hard to win against. So I'm happy to win a game, and yeah, we'll see tomorrow is the last round.
I'd say on average 3 hours.
I prepare some classes for students, so probably one day I have to do like 1 2 hours.
I have 2-year-old daughter, so not as before, but still I think we easily at least 5 hours on average.
The key of success is that I'm enjoying chess and I'm not counting this.
I'm standing per day 5.5 hours, but after that I'm following always chess games or talking with some chess players about chess.
Yeah, I would say like probably if I am trying to do something like a training camp, maybe 8 to 10, and otherwise around 5 to 6. That's
8 hours per day.
Hard to say. 7, 8, yeah, more or less, yeah.
I think when I was a kid, it would be like all day, but now probably like a few hours, but it's very inconsistent.
Maybe 4 or 5.
Hello, Rance.
Oh, we're live. How about
There
that?
we go.
I didn't even realize. Here we go, guys. Sorry, I didn't see the countdown there. Welcome, everybody, back to this broadcast. This is round 9, the final round of this year's Prague Chess Festival. We have come back from the break, and big news in the break. We've had a few results. Martirosyan and Hari Krishna was a draw after rook takes d5, queen takes a7. No surprises there. That means that Hari Krishna cannot win the tournament. Well, that is, of course, if Robson and Dayak both lose with white, he might be in a playoff. We'll see. But that's one result confirmed. No problems at all for Hari Krishna. We do have another result, and I'm delighted to say that Mr. Akash has won his game today. Well done to Akash for this win. He deserved a win. He had such a rotten tournament. It was really, really nasty. And I'm really happy that he actually won again. It collapsed very quickly, actually, for Stalmak in this game, which is kind of unusual. Let's have a look at exactly what happened, because we last were around here. Rook g8, queen g4, bishop d6. Rook came to f7. Rook e8, already the start perhaps of something not clear, bishop f4. And now just a massive blunder, queen takes d4. And bang, look at this. This is an easily missable tactic. The point is, after queen takes g4, rook c7. What an amazing finish. If king b8, rook takes c4, you win the queen back with an extra piece. And if king d8, now you have the move knight e5. What an unbelievable tactic. And now knight f7 is attacking the queen. Knight f7 is threatening mate and attacking the queen. And the point is, if you go queen f5, you can even just take here first. And rook b8 is also threatening mate, or knight c6, rook c7 is mate. So a disastrous a disastrous finish there for Stalmack in this tournament. That means that Stalmack finishes on 3 points, probably breaking even on rating. Akash losing a lot of rating points, but it's always nice to finish a tournament with a win. And those are the two results. Gledora is still totally busto, though, in this position. White did find bishop d2, c6, bishop b4, queen takes a4, and bishop d6. A lovely rerouting of the bishop. Now the point is the bishop is an absolute monster. And after queen a5, rook a1, queen d2, rook fb1, every single one of White's pieces is working to maximum capacity. And the problem is, a move like c5 is just threatening to win the game. For example, let's say h6, c5, bishop c7. Now you can start being very creative as White. There are all the sacrifices. You can even just take here, and it's just over. As soon as a rook enters on the 7th in this position, it's over. So bad news for Benjamin de Gledora. A sad finish to this tournament. Be a sad finish also to Peshak if he loses this, but the computer is not that impressed with White's position. Has he found a brilliant idea, Peshak? Because here I think if you take knight d4, this queen e4 doesn't quite work. So after takes, can you go knight d4 immediately? This is what Peshak wants to do. This is brilliant. Threatening, obviously, rook takes c4, rook takes c2, and knight f3 check. This is absolutely brilliant. And, well, who knows? Who knows what's going on in this position here? Absolutely unclear to me. You can play rook c3. The a-pawn does make a difference. But has Peshak found a tricky way to keep the balance here? Possibly. I will say in the Vcook game, though, that it looks as though White is better now. Better organization. Finek has just played g6. Maybe it's not much, but it does feel slightly better for White. Very complicated. That's the challengers section. In the main event, we've already seen the Hari Krishna draw. Ray Robson against Shanglin also looks very level. Sam just keeping some solidity about his position. Maybe White is ever so slightly better, but it's absolutely nothing special. That much I can say. And well, I think that we're going to just wait and see in that one. Gelfand Navarra has completely got out of control. I don't know what Boris did, because his position looked completely reasonable. He decided to go for b4, fine. And now he allowed this. I mean, h4 is kind of standard, but he allowed this. And now he went for e4, very unusual looking move. Giving up a lot of dark squares. Then he ruined his structure. He's created all these weaknesses. Don't like it. Don't like what he's done here at all.
I don't like to.
You don't like it either, right?
No, I don't like neither.
Okay. So, what do you think after bishop takes e4? What would you do here with black?
Maybe we play something like bishop c7 or knight f6. Maybe
Bishop
knight h6.
c7 or knight f6. Yeah, knight f6
Knight
makes a
f6
lot of
first.
sense. Yeah, this makes a lot of sense, knight f6. And yeah, the position is very acceptable. Very acceptable. I like it. I think black is better. We'll see. Dayak, key game. A lot of maneuvering around, not much going on though. This is a very, very slow grind, to say the least. This is a very, very slow grind. And I think that, I think both players will be kind of happy at the moment, if I can say that. Both players will be happy here for sure. So Queen D8 on the board, and very difficult to even suggest a plan here because you can't really force your way with white because black is. He plays f3. This move looks strange to me. I don't understand this move though. f3. Don't get it. I think he's just trying to find passing moves somehow. But I think Kmar is doing fine. And Wang Hao, rook c3 on the board. Again, slight advantage for white, but because of the pressure here, all of the rook endings are going to be close to equal. Chances for a few victories for sure here. Oh, we had action in Lamy. Queen d7, queen takes a6. Wow. Owen is really played badly the past few moves, right? I mean, knight d4.
Yes. Knight h3.
He's really let this position go somehow. You feel?
Yeah, maybe white has to find a perpetual check. Maybe they have to try something like queen e8 check, queen takes f7, and find. And then after knight d4.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen, something like this. But then queen comes to c6. It's not straightforward. I don't think Peshek can win this position objectively. I just don't think that's going to happen. But I have seen crazier things happen. Honestly, I have seen stranger things happen.
Oh wait, Erwin Lamy has only 1 minute.
Yeah, and Lamy only has 1 minute. Yeah.
But it's move 40 already.
He already got there. Yes,
okay.
That is true. That is true. So it's no major deal for Erwin. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, of course.
Where do you want to go to next, Natasha?
Let's go to. We stay in the challengers, and let's go to Motilev against Kledur.
Motilev against Kledur. Oh, we are so close to the end of this game. Bishop d5 played here by Motilev. And what is the finish? I mean, this is just over. I mean, this is you can play any move here, can't you? As white. I mean, bishop a6. Let's just hold on. c5, bishop a5, bishop a6. Beautiful, beautiful move. Yeah, Gladura has just collapsed basically. I hope that's not a major weakness of his actually, because he's a very, very strong player. He's a very, very nice guy as well.
How old is he? 22 is that?
Bishop d5, queen g4 check is on the board.
Yeah, he's 24. Yeah, it's something that he can work on. He's very young, and after queen takes g7, it's
over. Yeah, and he resigned. Massive win for Motilev. Massive means that he's got a real shot. He has got a real shot at winning this tournament. It all depends on Mr. Bartel. Let's go there because things are absolutely crazy here as well. We last saw it. Queen d6, bishop f1, knight d3 check. Very clever tactic because you take on d4 with check, and now you can take back on d3. Queen f2, queen d6, and queen g3, queen d4 with a repetition. But Paul Vinicius says no. I'm going to play on with queen takes a7. This is the position as things stand, and I guess black is going to try and put the bishop on a6 and play d2 and try and win like that. And it looks very dangerous, but maybe it's nothing. Bartel can also lose this position. Let's not kid ourselves. But Bartel can lose this position. He really can lose this position.
Yes.
So
yeah, we will follow this game very closely.
We will, yeah. We will.
Everything can happen.
Anything can happen at all. Totally agree. All right, what next? F3. Yeah, that's on the board. So we already have 2 results then from the challenges, and knight d4 also is on the board. And now Erwin is going to go for a big think, because this is not an easy position. Yeah, in the main event, we don't have such fire on the board. This game of Ray Robson's looks... This game of Ray Robson's looks very, very sort of equal, doesn't it? Bishop f5, for example, yes. Looks like a move here, and I don't see Ray winning this, but I see a draw everywhere. I'm not sure if I see a draw in Dayak against Kema. I think Vincent is actually going to try and be a little bit ambitious here if he can. The problem is he can't play f5 easily. That's the point. He can't play f5 easily here because the bishop is obviously on pre. And if you trade like this, you give white just a gorgeous knight on c4 with continuous pressure. So maybe you just can't do anything here as black. Maybe you just have to move around. It's one of those dynamically equal positions again. Wouldn't surprise me at all. Wang Hao trying his best here against Nguyen looks promising for white, but I actually just don't think it is. I don't think it's anything particularly worrisome, let's say.
Yeah, the only try is b5 for white in this position. If you want to try to play for a win, you have no other choice.
f5, force the knight back,
and
now knight f6.
Yeah, so...
No, I believe Nguyen is going to hold that. I have faith in Nguyen. Navarro's played your move, knight f6, but I don't like white's position here at all. The pawns are just so weak. Boris down to 15 minutes. There's also always this you have to be worried about. The knight coming to d5 and f4 is something you have to be worried about as well. And so... yeah. Not exactly... how to say... the most promising of positions for white. I would be quite upset if I had this position with white, actually.
Yeah, and I think David is very happy to have this position. He...
Agreed.
Okay, so now I think white is doing great in this position with the pressure on the g file. The black king looks a bit weak.
White has done really well, hasn't he, to get this position? And bishop e4 I really like as well. The point is, if you take, let's say go back, either f5 or e6, I don't know which move looks crushing. E6 just looks good. Bishop h4 is also very, very good here. Bishop h4 looks excellent. So I think this is a very acceptable position. And so black has to go back. Now, if you go back to d8 already, bishop h4 just looks horrible. No, I can see the young Finnick losing to Vikuk here. 11 minutes, 10 moves to make, very unpleasant defensive task. Very unpleasant defensive task.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very unpleasant.
Yeah. On Lamy Peshak?
Lamy Peshak, Erwin has put the pawn on h5, yeah. And Erwin might just be done with this tournament, actually, because if Peshak takes on a3, I see no better way here for white except just to give the perpetual. You can try and play on with a move like king g2, but are you running risks? Let's say check. You might be running risks here. You might just be running risks.
Yes.
I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
And the message is quite clear after h5 is, okay, if you give me the chance, I will go for a perpetual check.
Yeah, I think Erwin is done. Rook d8, by the way, was played. This is actually a bit of a chance now for Vikuk to play bishop h4, and he will play bishop h4.
Yes, he will.
He just did.
And he played. Yes, he did.
Yeah. He just played bishop h4. And very, very difficult position for the young Finnick to defend here. Meanwhile, in a key game, Port Vinicius Bartel, king f2 is on the board. I expect d2, rook d1, and the question is here, do you have something? Can you play for a win here with black?
Can I play queen d3?
Yeah.
Is it
queen e3?
Queen e3 is a problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
Queen e3 is the big problem here. And
okay, so
yeah, you just can't play this.
Okay.
You just can't play this. So d2, rook d1. The question is, can white improve his position? For example, is queen e3 a threat? If so, why not play f4? Why not play f4?
And I have a big threat with black, queen d3, queen e2, and then queen e3.
Exactly.
And with my 2 pawns, I will win.
So I think we're going to get that, and I think Port Vinicius with 7 minutes is going to have some difficult decisions to make before the time control. Queen takes a3 played by Peshak, should be pointed out. Queen takes a3 played by Peshak.
Yeah, and actually, queen g3, it's not a draw. Queen g6. Queen g6, king g8, and queen f8.
Yeah, you can play this, actually. But are you playing to win? Yeah, I guess yes. Because this is actually quite serious. So, Peshak. And he's an ambitious guy, we know that. Oh, no, they agreed to it. Yeah, I thought that was also an option where they both have had enough of this tournament and a draw. Agreed. Fair enough. So games finishing quickly in the challengers section. Vincent Kamar standing pat with bishop g5. Totally standard stuff. And
yeah, and the question is, what do you do with white? What is your plan in this position, actually?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think you have a plan here as white. I don't think, I think he might just even go like queen f1 or queen e2 here, or king h1. I don't see what you're supposed to do in this position. I really don't see what you're supposed to do. in this exact position.
It won't be easy at all for Deak.
No. But
And
I
as
think
you
he's
said-
happy with a draw because he's looking at the Robson game.
Yeah, but it's not a draw yet. That's the point, that
No.
he will have... It's Vincent Kamer will create the game. Will play with...
Not sure. I'm
white.
not sure if he can. That's what I'm saying. I think it's...
I think he can improve his position and then try to make the e5.
How do you wish to improve here?
I don't know. Maybe you can play King G7 first. Maybe put your rook in the right files. I don't know, but I'm sure he will find a way. Maybe you can...
Okay, knight f1 by Deak. The problem is, I guess the way you improve here is you play f5 as black, right, at the right moment. But it's just organizing that. But I'm not convinced with what white has done. Don't get me wrong. I think Deak is just not enjoying this position at all, basically. I think Deak is just not enjoying this position. And you could go bishop d7, f5. You could do that. That is true. That is true. You could go bishop d7 and f5. That's not ridiculous. But I'm not a huge fan. I think it requires immense timing, actually.
Oh yeah, for sure. Maybe it's not enough for black, but black can try. At least black can try, and it won't be a nice walk for white. An easy walk for white.
Okay, we will see. In the win game, we have Wang Hao takes on c5. He's going to take. There's going to be a big trade on c5, and then they're going to shake hands after rook a6 and rook c4. And this will be a draw between Wang Hao and Win. No surprise there. David Navarra has put his knight on d5. So I like what he's done. And I think Boris won't be very happy with this position. Yeah. Again, what do you do? Rook a3, something like this is black. Looks reasonable.
Yeah, I can play bishop c7 also.
You can play bishop c7, that's true.
First bishop c7, so white has to play rook h1. And maybe I can go, rook a3 or
rook e5,
rook e5 you go.
Get active, why not? You can absolutely get active here.
It's dangerous to take on h4, I guess.
Yes, you can't because the f4 square is... I mean, allowing knight f4 looks really bad.
Yeah, but I want to play bishop g3 after.
Yeah, but where'd you put the king? King f1, okay.
Or, yeah, king f1.
Yeah, you might get away with something like this. You might get away with something like this.
Yeah, it's... I mean, if you have a bad position, it's better to have a pawn for it.
Correct. I agree. Let's go back to the Vcook game because we saw bishop h4, rook f8, and now Vcook has taken and Vcook has got full exchange. But I like the decision by Finnick to do this. I don't think he had something better. but the position is surely very bad. Now, actually, Vikuk has got a very nice tactic. He can take on g6. If queen takes, you just move the queen and you win a queen. And if h takes, you have to move queen f5, threatening the knight and threatening the pawn.
Queen, yes.
Yeah, this looks actually bad. I think Vikuk as well will see that. He's a very tactically gifted player. And we do have the move f4 here by Bartel. This is slightly different to allow before because now I can give check and I can use the e4 square, the newly liberated e4 square with queen e4 check. This is not ridiculous at all. And I think that do you put the king back on d8 or do you come up the board? I'm not really sure where you're supposed to put the king in such positions. No, very, very difficult. Very, very difficult position to analyze. Paul Vinicius with 5 minutes and Bartel with 24. So Bartel is not going to get in time trouble. Paul Vinicius may. We did have some trades. After knight df1, bishop d7, there was a trade of knights on d5. And now, finally, black does play f5, Natasha. So black found the moment to play this move, which is, of course, good news. So we're going to see about this one. But at least now there's a bit of life to this game. Now, is Dayak very concerned about this? I don't think so, because let's say I go knight e3. You can go f4 and bishop h4 though. I mean, there is something here to work with this black. There is something. It's not completely. It's not a dead position per se. It's not a dead position here. So we'll see what happens. What else is going on?
Yeah, maybe in this position, black wants to play like King's Indian defense, playing f4 and then pushing the pawn. This could be a plan.
I think it's possible. I think it's possible. Something like this. It is plausible, but I don't think that I don't think there's enough pieces to truly worry. Oh, he took on f5. That is interesting. I did not expect that move. I did not expect that move.
It completely changed the nature of the position.
Yeah.
Like from I would say a closed center position.
Yeah.
Now it's a good thing for the two bishops of Vincent Keimer. Yeah, you take with the G pawn, of course.
Of course you do, yeah.
And then it's not the same story anymore.
No.
I think you're very, very happy with black in this position.
I agree. I think black is very happy. No risk. Now you've got the G file to work with. So some drama potentially still to be had here. Ray Robson Shanklin is going to end very, very soon, in my opinion. Ray has just taken a pawn on f7, and when this pawn is taken here, you can give a check. Black can block the checks, but you then lose the c6 pawn. and I believe it's a draw. So what else are you supposed to do here as black? There isn't much to do. I think that Ray has just found a nice way to try and make a draw. Ray obviously understanding that, that Dayak might even be worse, right? So
Yes,
he
yes.
will have seen that board and understood that a draw now is a completely reasonable result.
Yeah, and the point also is that the queen on d4 has to protect the king from a perpetual check and protect the a7 pawn too.
Exactly.
And she cannot do both.
That's correct.
It's too complicated to do both. Okay, it's a very good strategy of Ray Robson.
Indeed. So Ray gonna make a draw. Nguyen is also gonna make a draw eventually in this position. We already saw Peshak drew, Gladura lost, and bravo Jan Vikuk, because he finds the key idea. This bishop takes f5. Sorry, bishop takes g6 and queen f5 idea. Well done to him. This is really good work. And yeah, and I think that Finnick doesn't survive this position. It's really difficult to play this position on as well, just psychologically. It's actually a position where if you don't look too hard, you can resign in one move here. This is, resigns here would not surprise me if Finnick just said, enough. He's got 3 minutes left. It's really not easy to see a defense. If you move the king, white just takes here and you're like, okay, I'm a full exchange down with an exposed king. It's really not a position which, goes your way, basically.
Yeah, he will try his best until move 40, and I think after move 40, he will just have a look at the position and try to find what can be saved.
Yeah. So we will see.
Yeah, king takes f7, queen takes c5 played.
Ah, he did this. Okay. Yeah. King f7, queen takes c5. Yeah, that is.
And now you have to find an idea. Like queen h3.
Queen h3. Okay. So after queen h3, I guess white is going to play something like queen c4 check. Looks totally logical. And Finnick wants to put the rook on d5. This is what he wants to do. And he wants to claim that if he can play this, he's going to be okay. Okay, well, fair enough to the youngster. He's showing also that he's very resourceful, which is excellent, of course. He's very, very resourceful. So let's see. Wow. Mateus, but sorry?
Yeah, I was saying you had a question earlier. What happens if I play king f6? We will see.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, I've just seen that the king now just landed on f6 here, which is obviously extremely funny. So the king now on f6
and g3.
G3.
Right.
G3.
It's a good reaction.
Yeah,
actually.
it's a good move. Imagine Bartel loses this. G5 by Bartel, trying to keep everything. But now the king has got room. Can I take? What's going on here? Because this.
Okay,
and suddenly, no, then you lose your queen.
Oh yeah. Okay, maybe I shouldn't check first. But if I play d2, you play queen h6 and trade queens and rook
Exactly.
d1, and everything is okay for.
Exactly. So what is he going to do? Very curious. Let's stay here. Paul Vinicius with 1.5 minutes. Massive, massive game for the challengers. And
okay, 1 minute and a half and 2 moves to play.
Exactly. Wow. I think you take on h7 here when you're low on time, because, or you trade first.
Yes.
You know, you take, and then ask black what you want to do.
I think that's maybe a better option, because then you're threatening moves like rook g1, and it can be tricky for black.
Yeah. This is true. Okay. Paul Vinicius, 33 seconds. What are we going to see? He does take on h7 immediately. Totally understandable. Totally understandable. And well, Bartel has to find a move here. What is he going to do? I think he's going to play knight e5. Yeah, exactly. Knight e5. This is the move to play. Because he wants to sometimes put the bishop on b7. So if the king goes to g2, you can play bishop b7. This is still extremely difficult. But
yes.
if king g2, bishop b7, at least I have queen h6 check. So I think Paul Vinicius does play king g2 here. What else? Or he might give a check here to try and gain time. You know?
He has only 15 seconds left. He has
Yeah,
to take a decision.
I think he might play the check on h8, actually.
He played queen a7.
Whoa. Queen a7, and the comp hates it. The computer absolutely hates it. The question is why? What's going on here? Why does the computer hate this move? So if I go d2,
Rook, natural, let's say rook d1.
rook d1 looks
First
like
move
the only move. Well, it almost looks like the only move here, right? So rook d1.
Maybe knight.
Queen d3.
Queen d3.
It's just all over. I'm coming in. You've got some checks, but I'm probably just going to find a way to stop the checks. Queen a7. No, the move 40 curse by Paul Vinicius. He makes a huge blunder on move 40.
And Bartel has 20 minutes to find the right moves.
Well, you don't even have many moves here as black. You have no checks.
Yeah, he has the time to play, to find, to calculate, to...
What? What happened?
Nothing.
Oh,
I was just
sorry,
having a look. I was having a look on the standing.
Yeah.
And if Bartel wins this game with black, he's the winner.
Yeah.
The only winner.
Yep. If Bartel finds the way here, he is a winner. And he will, because this is the most obvious move in the position. There is no other move that makes big sense here. And then Paul Vinicius will think for a while, and then he'll realize, I've made a huge mistake. I think maybe he wanted to try this, but after check, takes, and simply takes, or knight c1. Knight c1 is very
c1,
cute.
yes.
Yeah. That is going to end proceedings. This is not difficult calculation.
Not at all.
For
especially for a grandmaster, it's
yeah. So Bartel on the cusp of victory. Finek holding on. Bravo to the young Finek holding on there. We'll see about that one. We did get officially a draw in Wang Hao against Win. No surprise there. Gelfand Navarra looks like it's improved for Boris with the knight now off the board. This looks like a big improvement. And well, no immediate threats. Sort of position again, which could just liquidate something like this. And Rook D1. And suddenly everything comes off. And then this comes off, and we just have another, just another drawn position. Robson Shankland is a draw officially after Queen takes B2. They didn't even play further moves. So Robson currently in the lead, and everything depends on this game. And slowly, 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 Vincent is getting the better of things. Slowly, slowly, slowly. This is not what you want to see as a Ray Robson fan. Sorry, this is what you want to see.
This is what you want. Yes.
This is what you want to see as a Ray Robson fan. This is not what you want to see as a Vincent, as a Daniel Bogdan Dayak fan. I'll get it right eventually. Slowly, 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 Black has improved his position. The bishop, the dark square bishop, the dragon bishop, has now got real potential in this position. White's pieces don't really make sense. You can even take a pawn here, right? This move also just exists in this position. So I really don't think that this is a kind of an acceptable position for White. And White just couldn't find a way to make anything happen, but he also didn't sit very well. He just didn't sit very well here. So this is a massive, massive opportunity, I would say, for Vincent. And a move like Rook FC8, for example, here, just keeping the tension. Taking doesn't really help because you might drop here. You might even be able to do this. You're better in every circumstance. That's the problem. You're just better in every single position here. And big, big problems for Vincent, for Daniel Bogdan Dayak. That would be very disappointing, but it would give us a clear winner in Ray Robson. V-Cook against Finek, Queen E4 on the board. And I guess he's saying to Finek, you can take my pawn because you protect here. Now, can White win this position? Looks difficult to me because Black has got the perfect structure on the queen side, right? Black has fixed everything the way he wants to.
Yes. And maybe I can manage to create a pass pawn on the king side with White. Maybe that's why White will keep winning chances.
How do you want to do that?
I just have to play f5, or I don't know, but I have a two against one on the king side for White. It won't be easy, of course, but you keep winning chances. It's not.
Yes.
It's not finished. Can we go back to, I don't know if something has been played in the game, Barter against Plutinivicius?
D2 has been played, Natasha, the correct move. So Bartel has found it. And now, of course, as Port Vinicius, you've got this horrible sort of, what's the word, task to defend this position. And what normally happens in this moment is you realize that you made a huge mistake, right? You made a huge mistake on move 40 and it really bothers you. I know when I do it, I think, oh my goodness, why is it always move 40 when it happens? But this position is just over, Natasha. This position is just toast. Queen d3 and in or here is a winning threat. If you go knight c5, I've got this. And this is the tactic that might decide the whole tournament. And knight d3. And this ending, unfortunately, you can't even take the pawn on d2. Look at this geometry because of knight b3 check. And if you can't take the pawn on b2, it's all over because it's check and you have to put the king somewhere and it's just, it doesn't matter. The pawn will decide things. Mathieu Bartel. Well, very, very close, isn't he, to winning the whole thing.
Yes. And the first place is also a qualification for the Masters.
Yes.
So it's a big, big win.
It would be a really big win. It would be a really, really big win. We'll see. It's going to be very interesting to see this one play out. But I don't see any chances for Port Vinicius, which is, of course, very sad on one hand, because, you know, he's played some very entertaining chess.
Yes. Really enjoyed watching his game.
Mm-hmm.
And even this game was very, very interesting.
We have this position in the Dag game, some small hope perhaps, because Dag has played knight b3, but it's one of those ones where the bishop still makes a big impression. Can you go d3 here as well, by the way, as black, and try and win this pawn? Oof. What suffering that will be.
I'm 2 pawns up with black.
Yeah.
Okay, but white is doing a blockus. It's blocking everything. I don't know if it will be enough, but
I don't think so.
It's a lot. No, only one, sorry. Only 1 pawn up.
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure it will be enough for white.
No.
It will be very difficult to hold this position.
I think it's going to be very difficult. Big chances for Vincent Kaymer there. And the position in the Gelfand game is exactly the position we spoke about. It is just going to be a draw. Rook takes d5 and we have equal material and well, actually for the moment black is a pawn up, but you can't, one of these guys is hanging, and if you go bishop e7 I can just I can probably and still make a draw. I have to be a little bit careful, right? Because if I take and go like here, and let's say you go g6, I don't think I can take on h4 because I make my rook stupid. A move like rook e4 and I can lose. So I've got to be careful. So rook takes d5, bishop e7. Yeah, but white is just too active. Even this, like this, and king f3 is probably the way. Is probably the way to go here. Followed by g5, king g4, and you can't get anything going. And it's going to be a draw. Vincent K. Most played rook e3. Interesting. After knight takes d4, his idea must be to put the queen on e7 and to play this position here. So this is the idea, but I mean, I still prefer black because I love the bishop. But is it so bad now?
You're not a pawn up anymore.
It's kind of a relevant question, actually. You're
Yeah,
not a
after
pawn
knight-
up, but yeah.
Yeah, the b2 pawn was a big pawn.
It was,
Like
yes.
you have a passed pawn, so supported by two bishops. Here it's not the same, I guess. If I take on d4,
Correct.
you don't have this move anymore. You don't have the b pawn anymore, the passed pawn.
That is true. Let's see.
So
I think he
maybe-
has to take on d4. I don't
Yeah,
think
you
there's
have
another
to.
move. And queen e7.
Okay, so now the threat maybe is bishop takes d4 and rook e2. I think this is the idea.
Definitely an idea. So bishop f3. Totally unclear, isn't it? Suddenly.
Yes.
This position.
Yes.
Totally unclear. All right. Well, we're going to obviously keep our eyes on that one. Vcook has played rook g3 against Finneck. I think you have to keep the rook on here as black, something like rook d5. Maybe white now wants to go b3. This must be his idea. Rook d7 and now b3 will be played. And white is going to try and win this. He still has got good chances to win this position. And no move from Paul Vinicius. I think the reality of his situation is starting to become apparent. And he probably realizes the game is toast. He probably realizes it's just over.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so some interesting positions. Bartel on the verge of victory in the challengers, with Jan Vcook pressing, and in the main event, Vincent Kmar doubling here on the file. I tell you what, we'll stay here until the time control. So we'll stay here until the time control. 1 minute 47 for Deak, who just plays the move rook d2, which is the most natural move in the world, and he only has one move to make. But the question is, what do you do now as black? I think he's going to play h5. That's the move that in this position looks natural to me.
And another idea is also that queen d8, queen b6, to
I
put
like
another
this.
pressure on the knight on d4.
I like this, but and actually Vincent might be the kind of guy to play it, but he might also be in the mood of I don't care anymore. Let's just go h5. But then knight f3 actually, and suddenly you've conceded some holes. I mean, he has, yeah.
And he has also interesting ideas with queen takes d4 for black. It's fun.
Yes. Queen takes d4 here.
Yeah. Rook takes, bishop takes with a pin.
Oh wow. Holy cow.
Okay, can I play
King g2, let's say.
No.
Oh, rook e2, sorry.
Yeah.
King
Maybe
h1.
King h1.
I think that's the only move. No, this is not.
Yeah, they're crazy idea. You can play bishop c5. Maybe you can. I don't know if there's a point of taking the a4 pawn.
Yeah, you can take this. I don't ever see this happening with 3 minutes left
Yes,
on your clock.
of course, you don't take this kind of decision when you have only 3 minutes on the clock. Yeah, so maybe h5, h4, queen d8, queen b6.
No, because I think h5 is going to go knight f3. This is the problem.
Okay, so let's go queen d8. I think he will play queen d8.
Let's have a look. You think queen d8? 2 minutes 58 seconds. I don't think queen d8, but queen e7. You were close. Queen e7. But Daniel Bogdandak now with 1 minute 30, plenty of time. Is this a threat? I don't think so. I think he's going to play a move like king g2 or knight c6 perhaps. Doesn't look too difficult. He can find a move here. Yeah, and okay, 1 minute for. As long as it isn't a blunder, we're going to get an exciting finale. Now, if Derek and Robson finish on the same points, I believe there is a playoff. There is a playoff. So.
And do you know how? What will be the time control of the playoff?
I don't. We'll get those details when and if we have one. And knight c6, fantastic move here by Dayak. Yeah, this is a really good move just before the time control. Because if this is black's best move, then you know you've got decent chances here. And if black doesn't play this move, what else can he play? Queen back to f6? Maybe he'll just go back, actually. It wouldn't surprise me if he goes back here. Would not surprise me at all.
Yeah, but then I can take on a5 and it's a pawn. Now I am a pawn up. Black is a pawn up.
Yeah, but your knight is very far. Maybe it's not so far.
Can come
Knight
back.
c4 comes with tempo. Yeah, this is true. This is true.
And actually, you're threatening anything with black after queen f6. Okay, so what Vincent will play?
It's a good question.
You can also try maybe rook e1 check. This can be.
Yeah, but then all the pieces come off, and he kind of wants, like, he can make a draw quickly like this. This will be some kind of a draw like this if he wants it.
Yeah.
Maybe Vincent is already actually annoyed and a bit upset at how he's treated this position. Wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me. He understood that he had a big advantage and he played kind of inaccurately. And now he might just be sick of the position and just trade off into an opposite color bishop ending of sorts. This is plausible. This is very plausible. And he does take on c6. Yeah, with this move, he's really saying I messed up. Of course, Bogdan Dad will take back, and then we're going to get an opposite color bishop position where where black
queen-
certainly is not. Black
Yeah.
is certainly not worse.
But queens are on the board, so
Yeah, but you can go like this, and I don't see any other result except a draw after like takes king f2, rook b1. Because I'm going rook b2 next.
okay, if you go
And
this way, yes.
Yeah, it's just a draw. No, the likelihood is this now is just going to be a draw. Navarro Gelfand is a dead draw. So we are going to get, ready for this, 5 draws in the main event, Natasha. Not what people want to see, but it is what it is. That's my prediction. All right, we'll be back, guys, in a few minutes when we'll see what happens after the time control. Looks as though Paul Vinicius, though, in deep, deep trouble against Bartel, and that game could be over by the time we get back, meaning that Bartel will be the winner of that group. Finek still trying to hold on in his game against Vikuk. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
My name is Karel Janeček. I am a mathematician and social innovator. For more than 12 years, I have been investing my energy to help society in various areas such as education, the science, art, sports, the fight against corruption, increasing public participation, as well as improving democratic processes. We are now at the crossroads of history, and my aim is to help our society to successfully face the critical challenges of our civilization. In 2013, I invented a revolutionary voting system D21 to bring consensus to our decisions. With the D21 system, we will have the opportunity to elect better politicians and prevent the polarization of society. Since 2016, D21 has been used in various participatory processes around the world, such as participatory budgeting in New York City and a big number of urban and city planning projects in the Czech Republic, France, Scotland, Tunisia, and India. The revolutionary D21 method has also been used in Czech, Slovak, Tunisian, or Zambian schools to teach democracy in a fun way and gives children a voice in what is important to them in the school environment. D21 applied to parliamentary or presidential elections will produce more consensual results, reducing populism and extremism. Small parties and independent candidates will gain space. This electoral method will produce positive campaigns and will not divide voters into opposing camps, which currently is a huge problem in elections around the world that use single vote systems such as first past the post. D21 is the key to finding consensus, and its wide adoption for political actions will heal our democracies. How does it work? Here is a small demonstration. The Janeček method D21 is a modern voting system. Standard polls only grant you one vote. This system works with more options, using positive and also possibly negative votes, which allow you to express your opinion with more precision. This way you don't have to vote for a lesser evil. You are free to select options to support and those who you strongly dislike. Such polls can work in politics, municipalities, companies, and even among friends. Let's take a look at a practical example. Citizens want to decide what the city's budget should be used for. It could be a cycling trail, a park, apartment blocks, a firehouse, or a VIP parking lot. When every citizen has only one vote, the VIP parking lot wins. This is because an organized minority can easily outvote the others. If every citizen had 2 votes instead, they might agree on the residential development. At the same time, the negative vote would reveal a controversial choice, in this case, the VIP parking lot. Janeček method D21 finds consensus, the solution with which more citizens are satisfied. Try out this modern voting system and upgrade the way you vote at www.participate21.cz. You can right now, voting each day for the best chess games at the Prague Chess Festival. Simply go to www.praguechessfestival.cz/voting. Karel Janeček, proud partner of Prague Chess Festival. My name is Karel Janeček, and I am a mathematician and a social innovator. When I was a kid, I played chess competitively and loved strategic card games. I may have been a mathematician since birth, at least as far as I can remember. For more than 12 years, I have been investing my energy to help society in various areas such as education, the science, art, sports, the fight against corruption, increasing public participation, as well as improving democratic processes. We are now at the crossroads of history, and my aim is to help our society to successfully face the critical challenges of our civilization. In 2013, I invented a revolutionary voting system D21 to bring consensus to our decisions. With the D21 system, we will have the opportunity to elect better politicians and prevent the polarization of society. D21 is the key to saving democracy, and its implementation for political elections is absolutely crucial. Another innovative product we developed together with scientists from the Science 21 Foundation is the revolutionary mathematics game Mateso. I believe that Mateso will enable children from all over the world to learn mathematics in a fun way and help them develop critical thinking, a crucial skill in today's turbulent times of omnipresent information and misinformation. That is why we came up with the innovative board game Mateso, which brings mathematics closer to all age groups in a fun way. By playing Mateso, preschool children subconsciously gain knowledge of key information about the structure of the number system without having to know any number or perform a single calculation. Namely, the game includes a multiplication table, prime numbers, factorials, Fibonacci numbers, and the concept of zero. By playing this game, a so-called backbone algorithmic system is created in a very entertaining way. It is a natural consequence of certainty in all basic mathematical operations. With Mateso, starting primary school mathematics would no longer be scary. It will change into a fun subject. For school-age children and teenagers, this game has a similar effect. However, the activation rate of the backbone algorithmic system is inversely proportional to the age and the level of dislike of mathematics that individuals acquired during the classical educational process. For adults, this game is not only a way to teach their children the necessary basics in mathematics, but also an opportunity to find their own acquired blockages in this field and gradually get rid of them. Mathematics is all around us, and it is beautiful. However, its beauty is easy to overlook if we don't know how to look. Mateso is the way to learn. Karel Janeček, proud partner of Prague International Chess Festival.
Well, the plan for today was to have a game and checking the tournament results. It was easy to figure out that Akash is not having the best tournament. And when I checked his games from this tournament, it was quite visible that he is getting decent positions, but somehow probably the lack of practice, because he didn't play that much in previous years, is telling that in positions with a lot of pieces on the board, some problems happens. And my preparation for today was to get just a complex
Okay, hello everybody, and welcome back. This is the last round of this year's Prague Chess Festival. We have passed the time control, and we've got some critical positions on the board. In the challenges section, Mateusz Bartel is going to defeat, well, most likely, going to defeat Port Vinicius. We have this position after move 44, and there is just no way to stop the entry into e2 now with the queen. And there's nothing really much more to say. There are no checks. This queen is going to come in here, and with that, that will mean that, Bartel will win the tournament, Natasha. Simple as that. Bartel is going to win this tournament if he wins this game. And it's just over. There's no real... So knight c5 has been played, queen e2 check. The king has come to h3. So Port Vinicius relying on some kind of mistake with queen takes d1. Even this is probably winning. But I think Bartel has got a better idea here. I believe in this position, Bartel is going to play queen takes f3 with the idea that if knight takes d7, you can now give check, check, check here. Oh, and then there's this check. No, he's not gonna do that. That's just a computer line. Okay, so what is he gonna do in this position? What is he gonna do in this position? He's gonna take the rook, knight takes d7, and try and find a move here.
Queen f1 check, king g4.
Yeah, queen f1
maybe we
check,
can
king
just
g4,
go for
and
queen.
just make a queen.
Let's see if it's...
and say that there's no problems here. Basically, you're not going to be able to survive. Also very plausible. Also very, very plausible that this happens. Very, very plausible. So we'll see, but regardless of what does actually happen, the position is losing, and Bartel is on the cusp. He is on the cusp of winning this tournament. The young Finnick has had an admirable tournament so far. He's played really exciting chess. He's shown that he is a real super talent. He might even hold this position. I wouldn't bet on it because it feels like a position you probably don't hold, but fair play to Finnick for all of his tries. In the main event, this is the key game still going on here with Bogdan Derek with the white pieces. Kmar did not actually end up going for the ending, instead wanted to play on rook c8, bishop f3. The question is, who is actually better now and why? Because I'm going to put my rook on d1. I'm going to target your pawn. I'm going to put my king on g2. And white is totally, totally safe. White is just totally safe here.
And there is a big, big weakness in black position. It is the f5 pawn.
Yep, it is the
and
f5
this will be a very big target for white. So maybe black has to be careful, actually.
Yeah. I'm not saying that I think Derek is going to win. I still think a draw is
of course
the most probable result, but
it's not. Black has to be careful.
Exactly. Gael van Navarra is looking still very, very drawish. In fact, I think you can take this and make a draw quite easily here with white b5, I don't know, bishop d2. And this looks like a stone draw to me after rook d5. Boris, I don't really know what he's thinking about, because rook a7 is not a real winning attempt. So here you just take and go king g4, and you do start to trade pieces and pawns, and it will be a draw. We already saw that Robson drew against Shankland. So with these 2 games remaining, this is the most critical game of the day. We will see what's gonna happen. He did go rook a. This is a completely bizarre move. I mean, why play this move? I don't get it. I don't think it's a winning attempt after rook b5. So I don't understand why you wouldn't trade rooks here. Only black can win this position. Okay. Well, it's not as if the evaluation of the position has changed. It hasn't. Still, I find it slightly strange. Finnick has played... Yes, please.
Yeah, I was saying, I think it's important to say that if Jan Wikuk win the game, in your calculations, he can make a grandmaster norm. So
yes.
It is also very important.
I think so. I'm not 100% sure because the average rating of the tournament is just under 2550. But because he's one of the lower rated players, the average rating of his opponents is going to be semi kind of decent. So can we get, maybe we can ask the team if we know.
Yeah, it would be nice to know if Finnick managed to make an international master norm.
That's for sure.
If Jan Wikuk, if he wins,
that's 100%. That's just
if he
for
has
sure.
a grandmaster norm, to be very nice. No,
we're going to find that one out. We are going to find that one out. I am going to find that one out. Hopefully hopefully the team will actually let us know. And okay. Let's see here. Bishop b2. So yeah, he did go rook c2, bishop a3, ba4, and basically Finnick is trying to hold this position here, which is reasonable. It's a reasonable thing to want to do here. To try and hold this position is totally reasonable. You're trying to obviously have some blockade, but with the 2 versus 1 on the king side here, I think it's kind of unlikely. That's the problem. But there's a lot of fiddling around. I mean, it's just a technical position, basically. Let's go here because we have almost the exact position we were talking about. King f6 on the board, no more checks for Paul Vinicius. And if there are no more checks here, that really is all she wrote. That is GG. That is just not going to be.
Yeah, it will be resignation for white. Next move.
I believe so.
It will be.
I believe it.
Yeah, and it is.
Yeah. Congratulations to Mateusz Bartel, who has won the Challengers Tournament of the Prague Chess Festival 2023. He will be playing the Masters Tournament next year. Brilliant performance by this experienced, wise grandmaster with interesting play, with fantastic execution when he was in winning positions. Just really, really, really good stuff. And he deserves full credit. He deserves full credit for winning this tournament. Fully deserved the win. Didn't get lucky. He had this one break against Akash in round 3. That was his big moment where he got lucky. And after that, simply the tournament turned around for him and he has won. So well done to Mateusz Bartel, the winner of the Challengers section 2023. I have no idea what's going on in this position here. Boris probably thinks there's no danger here anyway for white, but why allow a pawn? I don't really get it. I guess he wants to go king e4, but now after rook h5, you're still not threatening to win in this position here. So it's all a little bit strange, I must say. It's all just a little bit strange, to say the least. It will end in a draw, though. Of that, I'm pretty certain. Deac, though, consolidating his position. You know, suddenly, can Deac just win this position and win the whole event? It's very possible. It's very, very possible. This could happen. And, well, what can we say? It will be an absolutely brilliant victory if he does manage to win it. And it will be fully deserved as well.
Yes, of course.
So
actually, I think it is possible because black has many weaknesses in their position: a5, e6, f5, h7, and it's not because we have opposite color bishop that it's draw, and it's not. We have the queen on the board, so and the rook, so he has very, very good chances to win, I think. Rook
absolutely.
e6.
Rook e6 play going backwards, yeah, but backwards. Now you put the king on g2, put the king on a light square, and ask black, what is your next move, sir? Because the next move here is not clear at all.
Maybe you want to play b3 too with
b3. Yeah, I like this idea.
I was thinking for white in the plan to improve
instead
your position.
of king g2.
No, you can play king g2 and then you play b3. You'll improve your position, and then you will go for the f5 pawn, and I think it's very difficult to prevent this plan for black.
I agree. I think this is very, very tough. Yeah, this is not easy. This is not easy at all. This is not easy at all. Yeah, I can see Vincent is a very sticky customer. I mean, it's very unlikely that Vincent doesn't win. Do you know what I mean? Sorry, Vincent doesn't hold because he's just such a warrior, but he has got a lot of weaknesses and he's down on the clock. You know, there is a chance here. I estimate Bogdan Deac's chances of winning this at sort of 25%, something like that. I think it'll be a 25% sort of chance. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see how he does. Gelfand has played h4. Still really not interesting me looking at this position.
Actually,
yeah, sorry.
We will have a guest.
We will. We're going to be joined by the winner. Mr. Mateusz Bartel is going to join us. That's great news. Okay. We'll be right back, guys, where we're going to be interviewing the winner of the Challengers section, Mateusz Bartel. Don't go anywhere. Of the Challengers section, Mateusz Bartel. Mateusz, congratulations, firstly. A great performance, and what a game to finish on today as well. An absolutely crazy game in so many ways. Before we talk about the game today briefly, tell us a bit about your. Can you evaluate your performance? How happy are you? And for me, there was a clear turning point in your tournament when you didn't lose against Akash, when you were completely.
That was not me, I suppose.
You sure that wasn't you? I've mixed you up. Sorry, that's was in round 3. You weren't playing Akash. No, that wasn't you.
No, that was not. Anyway, I can sum it
tell
up.
us about your performance.
So first of all, hello. I'm quite happy to be here.
Yes.
And I should begin with that I've never had such a tournament where I felt so bad throughout the event and I played so decent or even so well, because I somehow faced sleeping issues. Later I was having some health issues. So I must say chess games was like a relief because I was not dealing with other issues. So I was just playing and that was going quite well. And as about my performance, it was actually pretty similar to my last event, because a week ago I've played in an open tournament in Canada. And I started with 2 victories. Later I drew 5 games and I finished with 2 victories. And here it was pretty much the same. I drew the first game, I won the second and third round, and I didn't play Akash in round 3, just to.
Sorry, excuse me. Yeah, I had a blackout there. Excuse me.
And after many draws, I won the last 2 games. So it was almost like a deja vu. But this tournament was, of course, a way stronger than the open tournament in Canada. Well, I am. Today was, or maybe even yesterday. We should start with it, because it was going to be a tournament of Benjamin Gledura, who was playing very convincingly. Who was maybe not dominating, but he was a leader since the very early moment of the tournament. While I was just half point behind him, and I was not really brave at some moments, because I accepted a draw in a game with Vikouk, where I was, I should have continued. I repeated moves with Motilov, where I had no risk to lose. So I was pretty, kind of a chicken, I would say, that I didn't try. And it should have been punished. But somehow the Kaisa goddess helped me. And yesterday I played a normal game, while Benjamin lost better position. He was better with Paulius. And if it would finished otherwise, the situation before the round today would be totally different. And today I was a leader, but everything could have happened. And of course, Paulius, who was just half point behind me with white, it was clear that he should try. But I thought, okay, I want to play for a draw, because I don't know how to play for a draw, basically. And also draw was nothing special, because it might have been that it's just a tiebreak if I make a draw. So I thought he will surely push, and I had this line prepared like 2 years ago, before it even became famous, because there were many top level games.
That's right.
But I didn't have a chance to try it, and today was a perfect day to surprise him. And while the opening part was in my favor, without any doubts, I got a decent position and much advantage on time. Later, I was kind of outplayed, I believe, because in crucial moments around time control, I think I blundered some important moves. And if not his 40th move, which was totally insane, completely like out of this planet, with no sense. I thought, maybe actually